All right, so here we go. Yes, we are on. We are live. This is Deconverted Man. I have Yin Yang Mountain. I have Main Gun 7, and I've got SteadFast and Easy. And I've called this SteadFast and Easy versus Everyone's Sanity Part 2 because I had a hangout with SteadFast that was 6 hours last time, and my sanity suffered greatly. So he is a young earth creationist and adherent to the King James version of the Bible. And he's going to be interacting with mostly yin yang, I think. But we'll just see what happens. So welcome to this. Let's have this be a thing.
So my question to you directly, though, is in all our postings back and forth, you just manage to avoid every point that I make, every piece of evidence that I give you, every person of note who says no, evolution isn't possible, and you just say no.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you? See, at least I have a valid objection to evolution, okay? Because everything that everybody wants to claim, nobody has definitive evidence for.
Okay, so there's a lot of claims there to unpack. Let's just narrow in, as Yin Yang suggested, on one of those claims you've just made. So what person do you offer that is legitimate that says no to biological evolution? What's the name of that person?
Well, David, I guess you didn't
Stop.
read my post.
You
didn't read my post.
Stop. Do you understand the question you were just asked?
What makes you think I don't?
Because you didn't give a name.
Try
the word Tom or John or Doctor.
Give me a second, and I'll get to the name.
A 5-word name.
Give me a second, and I get. Who is this? Is this Yin Yang?
Yep.
Dude, stick your nose back into your own socket. I'm talking to Deconverted right now.
No, you're talking to Yin Yang. He's my lawyer here.
You're not answering.
But I'm talking to you because I posted to you.
You didn't answer the question.
Answer the question.
I was getting to the answer.
All you have to do is say Dr. Smith, Ron Johnson.
Oh, so you guys get to elaborate before yes or no, but I don't.
You were asked a question and didn't answer the question.
So you guys get to elaborate before yes or no,
what's the name here?
Hey, SteadFast, take it easy. Take a breath.
Hey,
back up.
I just want to
calm down,
early, dude. Don't sit there and come up and start making demands in the middle of something that I'm saying.
What is the answer to the question?
The first answer is you not looking at my posts.
What is the answer to his question?
David Berlinski.
Okay.
David Berlinski.
All right.
I have he's in the post that I gave you. So it's
David,
a less than 5-minute video.
How do we spell that last name there?
Very well respected man of science around the world.
How do we spell his last name? Because I want to make sure I'm looking him up correctly.
Actually, Berlinski is not well respected.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He is not a biologist.
It doesn't matter what he is or isn't. It's the evidence that he presents. That's what matters. Okay.
Okay. DM.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back because you said
DM. I'm really fast at this. What was the question you asked him?
My question was, let's get one name that is credible that supports that says that biological evolution is untrue.
I have more.
Okay. Let me finish. He's interrupting. Let me finish. DM. So you asked a simple question of giving something credible. After he answers it, he's now telling you that it doesn't matter. So
so that name.
No, I did not say that. Boy, you
answer the question. That it was never credible.
He said that it doesn't matter if he is or isn't credible.
A biologist or whatever. The point.
Or whatever, right? So is he credible? The question is he credible? Yes or no?
The question is the evidence true or not?
That
wasn't the question. The question was whether he's credible. What's the answer to that question?
So if he has actual true evidence, but
is he credible? Yes or no?
Is he not credible?
Is he credible? Yes or no?
Who, to me? All I can tell you is he writes books that people buy, and he lectures all over the world.
What does that have to do?
What has that to do with the question?
Can you name one person
happen to think what he's saying
credible in the biological community?
Is he credible? Yes or no? You're avoiding the question again.
How do I answer that?
You just say yes or no, or you don't
yes.
know. Yes.
Well,
okay. Thank you. All right.
What
So
are you, are you guys idiots or what? Do you think I'm going to give you a name and say?
So there's
by the way,
we've already heard about 5 or 6 ad hominems from this guy.
Yeah. Irrelevancies, if not ad hominem. But at any rate, okay. So we've got one name. What was the name? Was David? I want to make sure I got this.
Berlinski.
I can't spell that for
Dr. Richard Lumsden.
Okay, hold on. Let me get Berlinski in chat here. How do I spell that? Can somebody type it in chat because I can't spell it.
E-R Linsky.
N-K-S-Y, is that right?
No,
okay, well
I on the end.
Oh, whatever. Google will know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, so what was the next name here? Let me get that guy in here.
Richard something.
Richard
Lumsden.
Say again.
Lumsden. Lumsden.
And what is Richard Lumsden a PhD in?
Well, aren't you looking that crap up right now?
You've given us a name that you don't know what the person is an expert in? Is that what you're saying?
If I look up Richard
on me.
Okay, if I look up Richard Lumsden, which is improper because the burden of proof is on you, but that's okay. If I look him up and he is not a credible scientist, he goes off the list, okay?
What does that have to do with the evidence?
We're asking whether they're credible scientists or not.
Well, if they're bringing truth, that makes them credible.
No, not necessarily.
You don't have to have
that's a separate question.
College to be credible.
That's a separate question.
That is a separate question. For some college to be credible.
That's a separate question.
No,
I will get to that question. Trust me, I will. But first, I want to establish a baseline. And here's your claim so far: is that I have a couple of names, and you might have more, that are credible scientists that
I didn't make that claim.
You didn't. Okay.
I did not.
So when I asked you,
all I asked you to do was take a look at these short videos. That's all I asked you to do. And here you're making this whole big thing out of it.
Yeah, well, because it is a big claim that you're making. You understand that the majority of scientists in the world disagree with you. So
actually, the majority don't anymore. Okay, they're
really.
Here's the thing.
Well, really?
The conversation's already off the rails. Let's look at this
going
guy
back.
So,
going back
DM,
to the original.
Do you want me to be on here and navigate this? Because
going back to the original question at hand was who are these scientists that are credible that say no to biological evolution? We have two names so far.
Okay.
We have been told that maybe it doesn't really matter if they are or are not credible to some extent.
The point is, I don't have that information at hand.
You don't have that information at hand.
Why not?
Because I'm looking at my storage pad for the things I send to people.
So you have a theory that you don't even know off the top of your head. Is that what you're saying?
What's that?
Can you see my icon?
Hang on. I'm not in hangouts. There we go. Is that you with the epaulets?
Yeah, I have a master's degree. I'm a commercial pilot. Aircraft. Airplane. Jet. There's not a question you can't answer, or you can't ask that I can't answer right now. I don't need a book. If I sat up in a university and started teaching you something and you asked me a question, I can answer it. I would never dare to tell an audience something and then say, well, I just don't happen to know that. If I mention someone, it's because I happen to have that in my mind. But what you're telling us is that you're going to make claims, and then when we ask you anything about them, you're going to go, well, how do I know that? Or how I don't have that with me. So what are you saying? We might as well talk about a cookbook recipe.
All right, you smarmy little prick.
Hey.
Whoa.
Hey. None of that, okay? None of that. That's not allowed. We're not allowing that.
You see
it's not happening,
the condescension? The condescension with which he just spoke to me?
It's not happening this time.
I don't care.
No, it's not happening
this time. It's good for one side, but not the other.
You're not insulting us this time.
That's you guys. That's you guys right there.
You're not. Okay. You don't have any evidence for anything that you have.
Actually, I do, but you refuse to look at it.
Okay, so we have two names that are not credible.
In what way is that evidence?
Okay, so they have. Okay, let's go to the next thing because we'll never get this answered. Okay, here's the next question. Here's the next.
How about you just look at the video I sent you?
No, I've already looked at the videos.
No, you haven't.
Oh, really? You know that I haven't looked at that video?
I know that you haven't. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
So you know what I've done and haven't done. That's amazing. How do you have this power?
Because
that's an amazing thing.
Fallacy of
because you never answer in the post. You never answer any.
Oh, okay. So me not answering about that means that I haven't watched the video and discarded it as crap that it is.
Well, you haven't said anything about it.
Why would I bother? It's crap. It's full of non-logic and non-science. It's irrelevant.
Wow.
I saw it.
Now I know you haven't.
It's from Answers in Genesis. Bye. It's gone. I don't care about it.
No, the Berlinski video, dude.
The Berlinski one?
Yeah.
Okay, that one I don't know what you're referring to, so that one I can say I haven't watched. I thought you were referring to the one that linked to Noah's flood and whatever. Okay, but at any rate, you're saying the evidence matters. Okay, fine. Let's go with any evidence that anyone, and I don't care who it is at this point, has presented against evolution. What would that evidence be? Let's hear that.
That they even asked this to Dawkins, right? And this, I love this. There has never been shown a biological mechanism that allows an organism to move from one family to another, which would be required by Darwinian evolution.
Okay, so the claim.
Okay, DM, I have the answer for this already.
Yeah, but I want to make sure we've got this claim pinned down. The claim that SteadFast is making is there has never been shown to be a biological mechanism that allows
an organism
to go from one family to the other.
Correct.
Yeah. What do you mean by family?
I mean the difference between cats and dogs by family.
Okay, that's not the labels that are used in actual science.
Okay, but we're not. This is not.
Are you referring to?
I can answer this, DM.
Okay, so go ahead and let's get the answer. Here's the answer to that question. Here's the answer to that question. Yin Yang is going to present you the evidence. Here's what's going to happen. He's going to tell you what the evidence is, and you're going to deny it. That's my prediction. Okay, Yin Yang, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I'm in the Russian Federation right now. I'm not in the United States. Number two, this is the country that has done the experiment on foxes. This started in 1950.
On what?
Foxes.
Okay.
White foxes.
Okay.
And what they've done using speciation is they decided to figure out if they could go not from family, because that's not what it's called, is from one kind to the next. And the way that's defined
like the Bible
is
says.
One kind cannot interbreed with another kind. And what happens is, in the classic example, is they take, say, the state of California, and they'll start with an animal at the bottom, and they'll make it go up and around the top of California and come back down. And by the time it gets to the bottom, that kind that's on the bottom can't.
I understand what you're saying. It's the same.
Started with.
Hey,
well,
let him.
This, and the classic example was a dog is a dog.
Silence.
But what they found out is, in this particular species of fox and in a new species of dog, they've now bred these things to the point where they no longer can genetically breed together. They have physically, in our lifetimes, created animals that have gone from one kind to the next, that cannot breed anymore, from one kind to the next. They created a new kind because that's what the definition is. It can't breed with its own kind anymore. It's speciation. This has been shown. Where that particular paper is, we'll find it and we'll send it to you. But I'm sorry, sir. This has happened. It's game over already. Speciation has been shown to go from one kind to the next, and the mechanism is called speciation via Darwinian evolution. That's it. That's how it works. Open up a biology book.
You may now unmute yourself. Do not. We will not overtalk you if you do not overtalk us. Okay.
So DM, did you catch all that?
Okay. So now as my prediction, Yin Yang.
my
Well, I
question.
guess I'll call you James because that's on the screen. So, has presented the factual things that can
About
be
the
supported.
foxes. I got it. I got it.
That can be
Foxes
supported.
and wolves.
Okay.
That can be
Okay, but
supported.
that's the same kind, same family.
No, it's not.
Actually, well, they are, dude. They're
No,
both.
it's
They're all
not. You
canines.
cannot mix
They're all
a
What
wolf
is a
with a fox.
what do you?
Are you
Okay.
crazy?
What do you think? What
Now,
do you?
did you say you said I got a chance to talk now, right?
Yeah. I was gonna say
But you're misrepresenting what I said.
my
Let me go through.
prediction is he's going to absolutely reject it, and let's see if that comes true.
Let me ask you one question.
Mm-hmm.
Was the resulting animal still a fox? Here's the thing.
Wait a minute. Stop.
Wait, I'm
no,
talking.
that's not a correct question.
I'm speaking.
Did you or did you not use the word family?
Now.
Yes or no?
All right, let him go off on his little tangent.
No.
We'll get back to it.
Did you? I'm not going to answer a question that has nothing to do with
what
I said.
James, no, I'm
did
speaking
you or did
now.
you not ask about?
It's my.
All right. Stop. Let him go on his little tangent. Okay.
He was going to ask me a question.
I know, but he's asking rhetorical questions. I guess.
I wasn't.
All right.
I was getting to a point, but you didn't let me get there.
Okay, go ahead.
Is it a question or a point?
Let me get to the point.
All right, go ahead.
The same situation that you have just described occurs naturally. There are hares. There are
whatever. Address what I said.
I just did. Else. I'm doing that right now.
Address
there are snowshoe hares in the north that cannot breed with
from
desert
one family
hares in the
kind
south.
to another.
Why is it he gets to talk while I'm talking, but I don't? Why is
you're not addressing what I said?
You won't let me finish my point.
Talking about the fact that
you won't even let me finish
family,
dude.
Let him
kind. Now,
let
please tell us about that.
Let him go ahead and bury himself with his assertions.
Bury myself with what?
Okay.
I just showed an example of what he's talking about occurring naturally.
I want to know about the example I used. Otherwise, you're creating a straw man. Now, please address what I said.
What am I addressing? What is your point? What is it you want me to address?
He said that the foxes have gone up and around and then come back down, and they can't breed with each other, so therefore they're a different kind. That's the definition.
No, that's not a different kind.
Okay, so
it is.
Okay, hold on.
It's a different species. It's not a different kind.
That's called speciation. That's how it works.
Here's an actual. Okay,
could you define the word kind?
Yeah,
please?
I was gonna say that.
There you go.
There we go. Let's hear this. All right, we give him clear reign. Let's not interrupt. But I'm only gonna let it go like say 5 minutes at max, because otherwise. Yes. What is a kind?
What is a kind? Well, the Bible's pretty clear. It's those that can breed with each other and speciate in there.
Okay, so if the thing cannot breed with itself, with its own
that doesn't
thing,
then it's a new kind. It makes it an impotent kind.
Okay, so what's the definition of kind? Let's get back to that because we got to nail this down.
Okay, fine. The thing is, the definition of kind is just as broad as the definition of family.
What is your definition?
What is your definition of kind? So we don't straw man you. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
we're in the same.
Okay, wolves, foxes, and dogs are all the same kind.
No.
Okay, hold on.
Cats are all the same kind.
No.
Okay. Well, let him. That's his definition. Okay.
And such on. Okay. Birds have different kinds within them, even though they're all birds.
Okay. So platypus would be what?
We've already been through that.
But I'm just saying, platypus is its own thing.
Its own kind. When there's actually five. There's 5 members of its family.
At what point do you say something is a different kind than what it started as?
Well, I'm not a biologist, so that's kind of a tough question. But as a layman in that field, my guess would be the lack of the ability to breathe, and certainly there have to be internal genetic differences that separate them.
Okay, so even if they looked alike from the outside, if they were different enough that they can't breed, not just because they're not able to, like, that they can't breed genetically. They could produce offspring, but not with that. You know, the fox can't have sex with the pit bull. Okay, right? The pit bull could still have sex with the pit bull and get another pit bull, but the fox and the pit bull can't have sex, or if they do, nothing's going to happen.
I don't know about that.
Okay, let's just say, well,
I honestly don't know.
A poodle and a pit bull, you know, okay. I'm pretty sure the pit bull is going to kill the poor little poodle before they can successfully have sex. But let's say they did have sex. We're not going to get a pit poodle.
Yeah,
you would get a pit poodle?
You'd get a poodle bull.
You'd get a poodle bull? It's like if we combined a Shih Tzu, you know.
Okay,
but you wouldn't because they cannot breed.
Well, let's take a look at an even more extreme example. A Chihuahua and a Great Dane.
Yeah.
Right.
There is no way those two can mate.
And even if we took the seed and the egg from them and put them in a artificial womb, we would never get those two things to
I don't know about that.
No, absolutely. That's how it would.
I understand the physical limitations, you know, because
the physical. It's not just the physical thing. It's also
okay. DM, let me clarify this. Okay.
They are so different that they couldn't. That the semen and the egg will not talk to each other. They will not make a new life form. They are.
Is this is a known fact to you?
Yes, it's a known fact. Maybe not the example that I'm giving, but there are examples, and I think Yin Yang would know those examples.
Here's how that example works. It's like trying. You go to the store and you decide that you really like this really cool jacket, and you buy another jacket at another store. And one day, half the zipper breaks, so you think, okay, well, I don't like that jacket anymore. I'm going to use half the zipper on one and half the zipper off another. You can't zip those two zippers together. They're the wrong kind.
He doesn't like analogies.
No, that's
how DNA works. It's a double helix. It's got to zip together correctly. Those parts have got to fit together.
You're right.
Here's the next part of it. It doesn't matter anymore that wolf looks like that particular wolf. So you talk about a Chihuahua and a Great Dane. It's already been done to the point where you have two animals that look almost identical, and they can't mate anymore because they did this on purpose.
And
so
okay, well then you're telling me that mankind is forcing things out of nature that would not normally.
That's the difference between natural selection.
You
understand the difference? There's no difference between artificial selection and natural selection. One's been done artificially.
It doesn't really
matter. The same process.
Well, no, it's not, because
yes, it is.
Yes, it is, and it wouldn't.
Hold on, just a second. No, it's not, because
yes, it is, and I can say that 1,000 more times than you can.
I don't get to finish my answers. Do you ever mute him? No, it's not the same, because it is being chosen by a creative force. So no,
in the end, the DNA does not know this.
Yes, you're right, but it otherwise would sit where it is without that intervention.
And take longer. That's
not happen at all.
Let me ask you something. If you have a population of a particular species, let's call them, I don't know, Gumblejunes, right? Okay. And they live on the plains. Let's say these Gumblejunes live on the plains, right?
On the plain, all right.
And all right. Now, you've got a flood, right? You got a river that cuts right through, it floods, it knocks out a bridge that these Gumblejunes use to cross between two different parts of the plains. They can't get to each other anymore, right? Okay. Now, let's say that one side of the river becomes more marshy than the other side. All right? You follow me so far?
Okay.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's say on the marshy side, these Gumblejunes are used to walking on solid ground. Now, there's not any more solid ground. Now, not all their feet are the same size, just like people. Not all our feet are the same size. Some people have bigger feet, proportionate to their body than other people do, right?
Right.
So you would think that the ones that have larger feet are going to be able to stand better in this now marshy ground than the other side, right? You accept that?
I accept that.
Okay.
But there's something you're
Well,
going right past.
Let me.
And that is the fact that if the ground became marshy, the jumble Junes would move.
Where would they move to?
Well, wherever. Okay, if they were locked into their environment, they would most likely die out.
Okay, DM, do you know what fallacy he just used?
Shifting the goalposts.
It's called a post hoc rescue.
Oh.
Because all of a sudden you were given an example, you came up with abracadabra to solve it. Basically, you denied
you guys
the example so you could get out of it. Oh well, you know,
right, because you guys never do that.
Move to where?
That's I'm
rescue.
A most likely scenario in that if the environment changed, they would their current environment.
Last time,
we're giving you an example that you are denying to avoid.
No, okay, finish
the conclusion. Finish. That's what's happening.
It was finished.
I know where you're going with it. You're thinking the bigger feet, and then more offspring will have bigger feet, and more offspring will have bigger feet, and that whole thing. I understand what you're saying.
Okay. The last time we had our 6-hour talk of insanity, and I tried to give an analogy because I don't know the science like these guys do. I admit that. I know a little bit, but not enough. I know logic. That's my thing.
That's where the animals would move.
But here's the thing. The last time I tried to give you an analogy, you interrupted every single moment of that analogy. And you did not want to even consider the possibility that it could work the way that I was suggesting. You wouldn't let me finish. You wouldn't hear it out. And this is my prediction that's coming true every single time. It doesn't matter what we present you with, what analogies or what actual facts, we already gave you one scientific paper.
I totally agree with him saying, if they were stuck there and larger feet, more larger feet, that's
what
fine.
I think.
But at the end of the day, they would still be jumble Junes.
Okay, see, here's the thing is that you said the word kind is something that can't breed with the other thing, the whatever that other thing is, right? And
anything that's not itself.
Okay, well, okay, anything that right. So the horse and the donkey, is that good?
They breed.
No.
They breed.
What's the other one? The mule.
They breed. Actually, the mule is what you get with a donkey and a horse.
Okay, yeah, the mule is sterile, so that's not a good example. Somebody give me an example, okay?
Like zebras or something like that.
Zebra.
They can breed. The thing here's
let's stick with the donkey.
Just 1 second.
You had the donkey, right? Or you had the mule, which is donkey and horse, right?
Yeah, but then mules
and they can't. But mules are sterile.
Yeah, mules are
not viable offspring.
They're not viable, right?
Well, no, the offspring itself are viable, but not viable for reproduction.
I think you're under a misconception. Backing up a little bit and thinking about what you've said so far. I think you're under a misconception that when speciation occurs, that creature stops being what it was previously. It doesn't.
Let me ask a question. What is your name, the guy giving this analogy?
That's Main Gun.
Yeah.
Okay, because I like this analogy a lot. Go ahead.
If you have, let's go back to my analogy before with the jumble Junes, right?
Okay.
Now you got on one side of the river, you got the.
Wait, is this river running north or south or east and west?
My God! Stop!
It does matter.
He's gonna do this again with the analogy.
Okay, Main Gun. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay. Give the analogy using the state of California. Draw a big river down the middle of California. Make the jumble Junes go from south to north. When they get to the top, they get to cross over because the river's not there anymore, and bring them back down the side. That's the way I see it.
Right, that's the foxes.
Slow transition up.
Yeah, well, we don't even need the jumble Junes.
By the time it keeps going around, something's going to happen. So that's. Yeah. Can you do that?
We already have the foxes. So here's the thing that I think is
that occurs in natural situations.
Okay, and that's correct. It is a natural situation. So the fox starts at the bottom, and since we have the evidence and we've all agreed that this is a real thing, that this is that we can give you the thing. Okay, so it's not in disagreement that we have a fox down here, and they go up to the north, and then they come back down to the south again. Okay, and then the one that stayed in the south, that fox, and
we'll call him
Fox A and Fox B, if they go to have sex, they cannot get a baby.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
What you would do is you would say A is in San Diego, B is in Los Angeles. Right. You'd go up around. Okay. By the time you get back down to, say, Imperial Valley, you'd have Z. Yeah, so then what you try to do is you say, can A mate with Z? Yeah. And now, although A can mate with B, and B can mate with C, and C can mate with D, and you can go around and you can say... Y can mate with Z. You can't mate A to Z anymore. Here's my gone around too far.
Okay, let me just stick with the very simple here. We got Fox A and Fox B, right? Okay, and they cannot produce a child. Okay, is this agreed upon so far?
Main Gun, what do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, is that SteadFast? Do you agree that Fox A that stayed in the south versus Fox B that went north and came back, that these two cannot breed? And we've got scientific papers that show this data, etc. Okay, is this agreed?
I don't disagree. I do have a question though.
What's the question?
Okay, now what you're saying about going up and come back down, is that from the experiment, from people making it happen that way, or is that a natural occurrence?
Natural speciation.
It's natural. They migrate, and people are just watching this happen. Okay.
Okay, so there's no scientific intervention.
No. Okay. They're just observing. Okay, so we've got Fox A and Fox B.
Okay.
Now, because maybe we don't like that they're both called Fox, we'll have a different name for B. But for now, we'll just leave it the way it is. Okay, so Fox A and Fox B can have sex, but they won't ever get kids. Are Fox A and Fox B, are they different kinds, or whatever word you want to use?
Okay, I see what you're asking me. Let me just pause for a second and say it correctly. I would have to say, biblically speaking, they are still the same kind. The fact that they cannot interbreed doesn't change that.
Okay, so let's go back then, because we wanted you to define kind from the Bible. That's fine, whatever. Although I'd love to dispute that, but whatever. Okay, so back to what the definition of kind is. What is the definition of kind? One part of it was they cannot produce offspring. What are the other components of that definition?
I really don't know what words you're looking for, because when you say the same kind to somebody, in their head, they know what you're talking about. Okay.
Well, I'm asking you what you think it is. What is your definition?
I've already told you.
Okay, but your definition of the biblical kind has been the two things cannot produce. No. Okay. No. So what is it?
Are pairs that do breed and produce offspring.
Okay. So Fox A and Fox B, are these?
They're still the same kind. One, you're asking for one genetic situation to totally wipe out a definition.
Well, what is the definition of kind then?
How many times do I have to say it?
You haven't answered the question.
You haven't really answered the question in full, because your definition already proves itself to be exactly what we're talking about, or it doesn't.
Which is what?
It's malleable.
Right now, your definition is that a different kind is something that cannot produce offspring. Correct?
See, but you again, that goes to.
Let me ask you.
I'm asking you, sir. I'm asking you very specifically. You need to define the word kind, and you won't do it. And I'll
one genetic situation to wipe out.
You're avoiding the answer to the question.
According to the Bible, can you get one kind from another kind? According to the Bible.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so according to the Bible, in your view, you cannot get a different kind. So Fox A and Fox B, are they the same kind? Yes or no?
Yes.
They are the same kind. Okay, so then you can get a different. You can have a different kind.
What you can't get is fox A and tiger B breeding and come up with anything.
That's correct.
That's kind. That's what kind.
Okay, so you are now saying that kind. Hold on. So the other definition that you're adding to the word kind is you have this thing that what is the
freak out on the definition of kind?
Yes, because it's very important to be precise in language.
Okay, DM, I have the example for this, what he's trying to do. Can I go with it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So if I go outside and I take a piece of sand and put it on the ground, would you call that a mountain?
No.
How about 2 pieces of sand?
Okay, get to where you're going, please.
No, I want you to answer the question.
So you're going to ask me how many grains of sand does it take to make a mountain?
That's right. When did it become the mountain? It's got a name. It's a mountain.
When it got to over 1,000 feet, that's when.
Okay, so if I have a 1,000-foot mountain and I take a grain off of it, it's not a mountain. Is that what you're saying?
That's true. By technical
definition,
yes. It's a very big hill.
It doesn't work that way.
Dude, you're talking about granules of earth, not
That's
genetics.
the way
Not
evolution
genetics.
by natural
Not
selection
genetics.
via common
Your
descent works.
conflation is ridiculous.
It takes millions of years and one grain at a time going around a big circle till eventually that piece of sand has become a mountain, and you'll never recognize when it happens.
Yeah. Okay, there's a better analogy. Okay, I think that's similar, and I think hopefully SteadFast will understand. Whether he accepts it, I don't know. Okay, at a clast of rock with a particle size of 2 to 64 millimeters is a pebble. Anything smaller or larger than that is not a pebble.
Correct.
So if you have a rock and it gets worn down and it gets to that size, it becomes a pebble. And if it gets too small, it's no longer called a pebble. It's called something else. So if it's 1.0001 millimeter larger, it's technically not a pebble. Okay, now it's still a rock, I suppose.
Right.
But it's not the same kind of rock that it started with. But nobody is saying we're not saying that rock is gonna be anything. It's gonna be different, but it's not gonna be what it was. Okay, so nobody is. Let me make this really clear. Biological evolution. No one ever has made the claim that the base thing is doing what you're asking of it to do. In other words, there isn't a crocodile. Okay, we don't see tigers having sex with dogs and getting a new thing. Nobody makes that claim ever. Now, what I think the problem is when it comes to, maybe you would be okay with other animals, but humans maybe you would have a problem with, but I don't know. We humans are classified as animals, and we are classified as primates. Now, you can object to that all you want, but it's absolutely the classification. So we are still
that only matters if your view is completely scientific. That only matters if your view is totally,
and that's what it is. My view is completely based on science. What's your view?
I don't give a damn what the scientists class.
Okay, so now now we've got you do not care what science says. You have decided what you want to believe, correct?
Well, the thing is, I was labeled long before.
You do not care what science has to say. You will believe what you want. Yes, you did. You absolutely did.
I don't have
just said that. Absolutely. Hey, guys, did he just said what I said he said?
Yes.
I don't.
Basically, you're saying that you don't care about any.
You said I don't care about science.
What
care what I
presented with that
you do not care that science has classified you as an animal.
Is that what you said?
You are an animal. You are an animal. You don't like that. True? You don't like being called an animal, right?
Classified me long before science.
Okay, you don't like being called an animal.
Classified me long.
You don't like being. I don't. Well, okay. So you don't care what science calls us, right?
Right, because it's incorrect.
Okay, There you go. So
why is it incorrect?
So
because I'm not an animal.
You are.
And
why are we not an animal?
I'm not a descendant of apes or even.
And that is because
I'm made in the image of God. That's
okay.
why.
And you believe that because
God told me.
There you go. I'm done. Thank you, everybody. I was right with my prediction. Good night. Yes. Woo!
No, you're not. No, that doesn't prove anything.
It doesn't matter. Nothing we could ever present you. Nothing we could ever present.
Don't break your arm patting yourself on the back. For
nothing we could ever present you will get you out of your dogma because you believe in God in such a way that reality
something that falsifies my dogma.
Of course not.
Present something that falsifies my dogma.
That there's nothing that will ever falsify your dogma. You don't care what the facts are. God has told you, whatever that means, that you're not an animal.
I'm not an animal. I'm not an animal.
You are.
No, I know I'm not an animal.
Okay, here's the hilarious question. I want this guy to falsify universe farting pixies.
Great, yeah.
It's not in the Bible, so. Hey, I have a different question.
It is in the Pixie Bible.
I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying the conclusions you get from it are wrong.
How do you know that?
Because if you're an evolutionist, you're wrong.
There you go. And you're wrong because why? The Bible says
genetics don't support it.
No, it does. You don't care about the genetics.
I provided.
We've covered that. You already denied it, and then you admitted. You've already admitted that you don't care.
You with information that shows that your
genetics. You haven't. Not even one.
You haven't looked at it. You
look at what?
Look at it. Go. I'll tell you what, everybody. Go back to all of my and his back and forth.
No, you gave us two names. You gave us two names.
You made no solid responses to my statement.
You gave us two names, and when I asked you what evidence do they have for against evolution, that
doesn't support it.
That you said genetics doesn't support it is their evidence, which is wrong because the genetics does support it.
No, you haven't shown me
where is the peer review paper that we can look up that says, "Hey, you know."
See, he doesn't care. He doesn't want to. He doesn't have it.
I'm asking for it.
I will.
One piece of definitive evidence.
You don't have any argument for your side, though.
SteadFast. if you're saying the genetics does not support it, post a link to that in the group chat or the side chat.
I'll give you.
I will go look at it right now.
Yeah.
It's in the. Oh, geez, hang on.
All right. Well, he's looking. Yeah, go ahead. We'll do that. So, in the meantime, while he's looking that up, I want to pause and just kind of take a couple minutes here for us to breathe. Let's get water to drink and so on. So let's
do that. All right. Take 5.
Yeah, let's take a minute. So for those of you listening live and later, there's going to be no sound, I guess. I mean, can anyone play music? I don't know how. Main Gun, sing a song. I don't know.
Yeah, Main Gun, do you have anything to offer? You sound like you know what you're doing.
Go ahead. I'll play
I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna get some water. That's what I'm gonna do.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just a dirt poor farmer is what I am.
He doesn't care.
So yeah, I got nothing. I got no expertise in anything. Except maybe Ford versus Chevy.
Ford versus
So I own one of each, so I can objectively say that one is better than the other.
Well, what I used to teach at the university level is weather. So when people start asking about that specifically, I can do it. When people ask about aerodynamics and physics, I can do it.
Who said
biology? I understand it, but only to
who said they were a farmer?
Under degree.
Me. You absolutely count on the fact. What do you do on the farm? What's your farm like?
Oh, it's actually it's more of a ranch than a farm. But I'm trying to grow a little bit of wheat.
I didn't have water, so I had to get milk.
You have any animals?
Not right now.
Are you planning on getting animals?
Not anymore. I'm kind of done with that.
Oh, okay. But my point was going to be that farmers absolutely count on the theory of evolution being wrong.
What? What do you think?
Because every farmer in the world, when he breeds his cows, wants to get another cow. And every time they bred cows, they've gotten another cow.
And that's and that is where I've been trying to tell you. That's what I've been trying to tell you, man. When something, when speciation occurs, we are okay.
Main Gun, let me ask you a quick question, real quick. I can kill this so fast. That's how my mind works. Main Gun, if you had a cow on your farm and it didn't do what a cow would do, would you have it on your farm?
No.
There you go. That's how it works. That cow's not going to exist via evolution on Main Gun's farm because it's not a cow to Main Gun. Therefore, you'd never get to his farm and not find a cow. Isn't that right?
What the hell did you just say?
That's so simple.
The cow would get killed by the farmer because it's not acting, it's not giving milk, it's not doing the things that he wants the cow to do. Now,
it would exist in my belly.
It would exist in his belly, right?
Instead of a milk cow, now it's a beef cow.
Right. Well, it doesn't. Well, I don't know. I guess you could.
But it doesn't. Look, the thing I'm getting at is when speciation occurs, it never stops being the thing that it's speciated from.
Exactly. Okay? You're right. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Dogs cannot breed from wolves, but they are descended from wolves. They are still wolves, but they cannot breed.
Right. You can't go back.
Has occurred. They cannot go back to being the wild wolf. Okay.
Right.
Evolution only happens in one damn direction. It does not occur sideways the way creationists depict evolution happening.
What do you mean sideways?
Dogs never become cats.
We know that.
Okay.
They could become a thing that looked like a cat.
They don't.
No, they can't.
It doesn't go sideways.
Yes, that happened in Australia.
Yeah. Do I want to go back to my cat becoming a winged creature analogy, or will you ever let me finish that one? Because I never got to finish it before.
I'm sorry, I interrupted Main Gun. Go ahead.
The thing that I'm saying is that we can trace our human lineage. I know you're not going to accept this, but we can't. The fossil record demonstrates that we can trace our human lineage back to, let's say we only go back to Homo erectus, right? We are still Homo erectus.
I thought we were sapiens.
You're not understanding what I'm getting at. It never, the thing never stops being what it was. It only continues to evolve. Look.
So now we're Homo erectus and sapiens. What?
Look, I've got. My buddy's got this utility trailer, right? And it's a pretty damn good utility trailer. Now he's done a lot of modification to this thing. Okay, but it's, you know what it's still classified as? An RV, because it began its life as an RV. The frame is still there. It is still an RV.
Right, but somebody got in and messed with the genetics.
Well, yeah, he went in and he removed the box off of it. He did a lot of things to it. And it resembles nothing like it was a flatbed trailer for a while,
right?
And now he's built walls on it and he uses it to haul his race cars with,
right?
But it's still classified as an RV because the frame and the tongue are still original. It's still an RV. Okay, it never stops being that.
Not by classification, not by use.
By classification,
not by use.
Exactly.
Not by practical service.
By classification, we are apes. By classification, we are apes. If you look up the definition of apes, we are apes.
Listen.
Everything every tick.
I get what you're saying. Science has classified us as animals and related to apes. I get that. I know that. Okay.
By definition of what an animal is, we are animals.
Except no, that's not true because there's something else extra about us.
Okay, let me ask a question. DM, I have a series of questions.
Yeah, whoa.
just a second. That was what I was trying to get at. That was the one thing I was trying to get at. What is different about us?
Because we can look up and contemplate. No
So?
other animal in the world does that.
Okay,
How do
let
you
me
know
ask
that?
some questions, DM. I got this one.
Yeah. Well, hold on. I know we could go all over the map, but here's what I would like to do. I want to try to get at the core of all of this. I want to identify the thing that is the problem, and because I'm doing some analysis of the person as well as his arguments, this is hopefully it won't go too far askew. But this is how I see it. The concept of God that SteadFast has is intertwined so strongly with it cannot be evolution because it's not in the Bible, that the age of the earth cannot be anything but 6,000 years because he thinks that's in the Bible, and that if these things were ever to be shown to be true at any level, then that would make his God false, and that is undesirable to such an nth degree that he will cognitively dissonate and reject anything and everything presented, even though I have outlined multiple times
this already in the post, and you just denied my responses. So
I don't think that you honestly could accept a different version of God than the one that you have now. I do not think that any evidence.
You know what? If somebody were to actually show me some truth.
But we have been, and you've been ignoring it and said it's not.
No such
when
thing.
we said that we're classified as we said we are classified.
All of you are doing. You're telling stories.
No, we're not.
Okay, DM, let me ask some questions.
We are saying,
how old do you think the Earth is?
He thinks it's 6,000.
I'm basing it upon the biblical description.
I don't want to hear that. I want to just hear a number.
About 6,000 years old.
Okay.
There you go.
And do you believe that the first two people on Earth were Adam and Eve? Is that correct?
Yes, I do. We actually had genetic evidence for that.
Okay, hold on. And when did Adam and Eve exist approximately, in your opinion?
About 6,000 years ago was when they were created.
Okay. And what made them different from, say, bonobos or chimpanzees? Or
a direct relationship with God.
I mean, biologically.
Well, I mean, if you can't look at
a bonobo, contemplate, yes or no?
Adam and Eve, did they contemplate?
What made them?
I'm sure they did or could.
Okay, so what's the difference between them and say a monkey that walks through the Garden of Eden?
The direct relationship with God.
Okay, because you gave an answer earlier having to do with their character of what made them different than the great apes.
Yeah, that's there's an essence about us.
Okay, what is that essence specifically?
Being made in the image of God.
And what does that mean exactly?
Oh my gosh, how big of a circle do you want to draw, dude?
No, I got to know because I need to know specifically. Is it having to do with writing, talking to God? What specifically?
I don't get what you mean.
What
you
is okay?
I mean, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to figure out what I'm getting at so you can get around it.
I don't get what you mean. You keep going off in directions that don't matter.
Okay. What?
No. This is going to go somewhere, DM. Let me finish.
Yeah. I was trying to get it.
Main Gun told you about great apes, and you had an objection to that. What was your objection?
That we are related to great apes?
Main Gun, what was his objection? Because there was the clue.
I don't recall now. I don't recall.
Okay, so let me ask you then.
Okay.
You said that we were not monkeys or apes, that we were different. In what way?
We can fly jets across the ocean.
Yes. Okay. So let me and we're genetically different from those. Is that correct?
Conceive of flying a jet. We can.
I didn't ask you that. Are we genetically different than all the other primates on this planet?
Yes.
Okay, great. So now a very simple question. I want you to explain the genetics of humans, and then I want you to explain where Neanderthals and Denisovans came from.
Why would I want to do that?
Because you obviously have not kept up with the science, my friend.
Of what?
Of evolution.
No, what's your point? You're making a statement. The science
That's right.
of
What
Of
were the
evolution.
Neanderthals and what were the Denisovans? Are they humans like we are?
Yes.
No, they're not.
Genetically, they are. That's
no,
what
they're
saying.
not.
Genetically, they are. That's what they're
no,
saying.
They're not.
Okay, whatever.
There's no scientific paper ever published that says that. You're just pulling this right out of somewhere I don't want to say, but that's never said that way. The Denisovans were not the Neanderthals. The Neanderthals
I don't know
were not the Denisovans, and the Homo sapiens that came walking out of Africa last were not those two. They're absolutely different genetic types. Absolutely. Do you not know this?
No, I don't know this.
You didn't know this. Okay, now great. If you take your DNA, which you seem to say is all the same, and you go down to the local DNA person, do you know what they can tell you, SteadFast?
What's that?
They can tell you exactly how much Denisovan DNA you have in you, if any, because some people on this planet don't have any. And they can tell you exactly how much Neanderthal DNA happens to be in your code, if any. And they can also find people on this planet that are still down in the deep parts of South Africa that don't have any. Tell me why that would be the case.
I really don't know.
You don't know, but you made the claim that we are all genetically the same because we have some special thing about God. However, Neanderthals used to bury their dead, and they used to make bones, and they used to make tools, and they used to write paintings on caves. And so did the Denisovans. But these groups didn't even mingle before they even met us. They were together. But you don't seem to know this. But they have all this DNA totally lined out now. This has been going on for the last 5 years. So let me ask, Main Gun, did you know this?
Is he gone? Yeah, he's gone. No, there he is. Oh, he's muted.
So Main Gun, were you aware of this?
I didn't get him. I did not. Main Gun, unmute yourself. Oh.
Nope. Sorry, I had to go get coffee. No, I did not know that.
Yes, okay, so here's the dirty little secret that nobody wants to talk about because I've kept up on this stuff. You can find people on this planet, and it's generally, they're very, very black, and they live down in Africa, that are the original code of the Homo sapiens sapiens that we think we are. However, that's not really the truth anymore, and you can open up almost any journal to look this up. The people who live in Northern Europe have mostly Homo sapien and Neanderthal DNA mixed, but when you go down into South Asia, you have Homo sapien and Denisovan DNA, but then when you mix right about, if you kind of go northeast from that, you can find a group of people who have all three. But there are people on this planet that don't have any of it, and they're all 100% black. It's because we all evolved from an original species that works exactly like Main Gun says. Yeah. And to say that we all have the same DNA is absolutely ridiculous. There's no DNA lab in the world that will tell you that because there's no DNA lab in the world that's ever seen that.
Yeah.
They're now seeing a fact that there are 3 separate groups that have mixed together on this planet. There was no Adam and Eve. It couldn't have happened that way because the DNA code shows that you can find people on this planet that are absolutely different.
3 groups, huh?
That's right.
Like Shem, Ham, and Japheth?
In the scientific journal. It's
like Shem, Ham, and Japheth? 3 groups? 3 groups like Shem, Ham, and Japheth would be the fathers of? Sure. I'll go with that.
I don't know what you're even talking about. Your claim had to do with DNA and Adam and Eve, and your claim was that the DNA and all of us are the same and we have some connection with God. However, the Neanderthals came from a different particular tree and lineage from us, just like Main Gun told you. They weren't connected they're on the same branch, but a different part of the branch. But they were still able to intermingle.
Can you hear me? I don't dispute that.
Okay, so what do you make of the skulls here on my little screen here? If you can see that, like You've probably seen stuff like this before, right? SteadFast. Like these are just these are just drawings, but there are actual skulls like this. And when you put them in order, I was trying to find one that put them in order. I couldn't, you know,
funny that
offhand, but
doing that.
But at any rate, so usually when asked why we have similar skulls or whatever, I there's a particular response that I've heard. Why I'm going to, well, how do I predict it without? I guess there's no way to do it in secret. My prediction is you're going to say that we have a common creator. Why is it that the skulls look so similar from apes to humans?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll try not to take the easy answer of common creator. I guess, or I'll try and fill that out a little bit. The thing is, okay, if you go by the biblical record of creation, it started with light, went to all these other things, and nothing. The third day was when the dry land appeared, and the grass and herbs and such, the fruit tree and all that. The fourth comes the lights in the heavens, the greater light and the lesser light. And the fifth day is when all the creatures were made except for man. Or not all the creatures, but the fowl. Let's see, who's this? The fowl fly above the earth, the great whales, every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind. And every winged fowl after his kind, and God saw that it was good. Then the sixth day was all the land animals and man. So the thing with all the land animals, anybody can see that while two animals can be a completely different kind, both genetically, or not both, but I should say genetically speaking, you even stated that they can look alike.
But,
okay, so that's my answer to that.
But why would God do that?
Well, there's possible answers. I do. One of the best ones I like, though, is God has done things in such a way that those who truly wish to seek him can see him.
The special knowledge.
DM, he never answered the question. I want him to explain what Neanderthals were. What are Neanderthals, please?
He doesn't. He's not going to be able to answer because he doesn't know the answers.
You got to get Neanderthals.
He doesn't want the answers.
Are there any Neanderthals left on this planet?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know as a matter of I don't know. Not that I'm guessing at whether there are or aren't. I'm saying I don't know.
Let's go to
DM. This is the answer to the question. I swear to God.
Yeah.
So, are there any Neanderthals on the planet? No. Were they conscious?
Yeah, I would think to a point.
Okay, could they talk?
They could communicate. I don't know whether or not they did talk. I couldn't tell you.
Can they paint?
I don't know.
Huh?
Can they paint?
Well, of course.
Okay, where are they?
Well, okay. Let's just assume that there's none on the planet. Let's just assume that there's none on the planet. They died out
before everything else. They were here before Homo sapiens sapiens. So, where are they?
Died out.
Okay,
great. So Adam and Eve's lineage has died out, is what you're saying.
No.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Were Adam and Eve Homo sapiens?
Moment. Stop. They mated and made us. So Adam and Eve are gone. Is that what you're saying? Because it's not us. Do you not get this part?
What are you talking about?
Neanderthals came before Homo sapien, modern Homo sapien sapiens.
According to
they're not here anymore.
According to
they were
science.
genetically different than us, but they could do everything we could do just a little bit differently. But they were walking around,
a crap load of assumptions,
and they could communicate with us, and they mated with us. But they're all gone.
Okay. Okay. So I want to get to a different Am I here?
Why is that significant that they're gone?
Because you say that we're all from Adam and Eve, but they're not here anymore.
Yeah, you would have to say that
others that are from Adam and Eve that aren't here anymore.
You'd have to say that Adam and Eve were the earliest thing, and now their lineage has died out. So we are not special in the way that they were. Like,
that's right.
So that's kind of a problem. But
okay, but now we got to add Denisovans into the mix because they were different too.
Here's the thing. Your view of the time after Adam and Eve is different.
I'm saying before Adam and Eve.
He doesn't think there was a before.
That's right. We're not Adam and Eve. You've got to go before that.
Okay, SteadFast.
You say we are like Adam and Eve, but we're not.
Here's the thing. Let's kind of shift gears a little bit, because I made a prediction that no matter what we said, no matter what evidences we gave, that you would always just deny it. And so far you have said you don't agree with the definition of animal applied to humans from science. You do not agree that we're primates. You do not agree that the evidence that comes before Adam and Eve is there because you don't think there is an Adam and Eve.
My words.
You do not agree with any of these
things. I do agree with all of those.
You don't.
I do agree that people assigned those labels to us. That's what I agree with.
Right, but you deny these things because of the Bible, right? Because
I don't agree with those definitions
because of the Bible.
There is a creator.
Right. So everything ties back into this belief of God that you have. Would that be fair to say?
What's wrong with that?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm asking, is that fair?
Sounding accusatory, though.
I'm not. Okay, whatever. You're not. Are you going to answer the question? Is it fair to say that all of your things are based on this belief in God?
No.
No.
What would be fair to say is a large portion of it is based on my belief in God. The other portion is from the fact that nobody can produce facts for what they're saying.
We have produced numerous facts. You've denied every single fact that we've given.
This is what you're not getting. All of what you claim is based on suppositions and assumptions.
No, it's not. Not even.
Which suppositions?
But okay, hold on.
Any more than 5,000 years old, it is based on assumptions.
Why? Okay, so you say if anything contradicts the idea that, let's just say, the age of the Earth, that's the easy one, 6,000 years young.
Well, no, there's people with the billions of years. I get that.
But you don't agree with them.
I don't agree with because of the methods they're using are all full.
So the methods are flawed. Right. So if they had a different method, what would that method be?
Well, my aunt had balls. She'd be my uncle. They're not going to have a different method.
Okay. What would the method be that you would agree with?
An accurate one.
What's that? What's an accurate method?
I don't. All right. I guess what you would have to do is you would have to take an object that you know how old it is, and then start running different kinds of tests, and the one that comes up with the correct number, or at least close to it, would be it.
We have
How would you know how
radiometric
old
dating?
What's it? I'm sorry?
We have that. It's called radiometric dating. It's been done.
That is based on assumptions and suppositions.
No, it's not. See, you go off track again.
See,
actually,
whenever it's convenient,
radiometric dating is based on assumptions about the past.
Not at all. You're wrong.
Could I address that?
Yeah, Main Gun, I'd like to hear.
But it doesn't matter, because see, again, you're going to deny every single piece of evidence, no matter what it is, because you're not satisfied with how it's done.
Because it's not true. Because it's not based on any truth.
It is based on truth, and you're lost in your belief
Main
of
Gun,
God.
go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
All right. I will agree that radiometric dating is based on a certain assumption. That assumptions,
as in dozens. Assumptions,
Main Gun, please continue.
Will you let me finish, please?
Just want to make sure you're correct, dude. Get the language right.
That assumption being that nature worked in the past the same as it does now. Okay, that being that particle decay occurs at the same rate now as it did in the past. If you are saying that decay rate differed in the past than it does now, then that needs to be tested. And so far, there is absolutely zero to indicate that that's the case.
Correct.
Nothing.
Correct.
So that particular dating method has never been falsified, correct?
Correct.
Okay, first of all, let's get the word right. It's assumptions, plural, and suppositions, plural.
Has there ever been a test that falsifies that test?
I don't know.
Okay. How many different dating tests are there?
As I understand it, like nearly 100.
Okay, so they'd all have to be wrong, correct?
Well, they all are based on assumptions of the past.
I didn't ask you that.
Which assumptions?
Let me ask you this real simple question. Can
Well,
a girl be a little bit pregnant?
That's
Yes
one
or
of
no?
the assumptions is whether or not everything's working.
Yes or no? Can a girl be a little bit pregnant?
No.
Because she's either pregnant or she's not pregnant. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so if we have one test that gets the answer correct one time, she's pregnant. Is that correct?
No, not necessarily. Tests have been wrong.
Wait a minute. She's either pregnant or not pregnant.
You're
if
right.
we have a test,
You're right.
She's pregnant.
She isn't,
and the test
that's
is
not
correct.
The test is wrong. The test is wrong.
She's pregnant, and the test works one time correctly.
No, I'm sorry. No, one time correctly is not enough. That's like
you're trying to be. It means to be pregnant or non-pregnant. So all we need is one test to work correctly one time.
No,
and we have shown what.
No,
Main Gun has asserted.
No, what? No, because it's repeatable. It's supposed to be repeatable and observable. So no,
one cannot be. If you have one pregnancy in the world,
we're not talking about a pregnancy.
Is possible.
We're not talking about a pregnancy.
It's probable. That's the way it works.
You're conflating.
Hey, Yin Yang or James, I don't know which you prefer, but
either way,
yeah. Can you fly? Can we? The question in chat from Reese was, can we send him to Australia? You're a pilot. You can hook this up, right?
I don't understand the question.
I don't know why we would send him to Australia, but that was the question. Can we?
What's the question?
She asked if we can send him to Australia. It's just, I don't know why she's saying that, but it was funny.
Probably because it's supposed to be an evolutionist dreamland.
Yes, it is.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so you had said something about, God had told you. I don't know what you mean by that, because
I mean God's word says.
Okay, God's word, and I've tried to ask this question last time, but I don't think we got very far. Okay. What your history of being a Christian?
Checkered to say
checkered. Okay, but you grew up
in a Catholic household.
In a Catholic household, okay.
Not the same thing. Not
right. Okay. Well, okay. Because you're Protestant. Okay.
Well,
and what do you have a particular denomination that you liked more than the others, or?
Well, I guess if you want a denominational description of me, the closest thing would be an evangelical Baptist.
Okay. So,
but I'm not. It's. Of course, you can tell by our interactions that I don't interact perfectly with people. So
no, and I'm wondering if.
Let me. At least I'm willing to admit it. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you did. That was one thing I was trying to get you to do in text. But
me not interacting perfectly.
It doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
Well, no, not that it doesn't mean anything. I want to get better. You typed it. I should get better, and you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I admit that freely, but my lack of tact comes from a place of defending God's word, which that's kind of oxymoronic right there, isn't it? I should have more tact when I'm defending God's word.
Well, you've had a lifetime of various different experiences in and out of church and with religion, and
right.
And something, a series of events, whatever, led you to the small branch of creationism that exists, and I don't know what that is, and I don't know if finding that out would help in this case, because
you don't know what is.
Well, the thing is, I don't know what caused you to start believing these things were true and had to be true.
I can explain if you like.
Yeah, well, what was that event, or was it a series of events that led to that? Or?
Actually, it is a series. You're right.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I'll give you the as quick as I can. Give me about 5 minutes.
Okay, that's.
Ever since I was a child, ever since I can remember being aware, I've always believed in God. I've always held a wonder about the world. Now, growing up, I grew up in a Catholic family, so, but my parents were very inattentive both to me and to the faith, the Catholic faith. I never learned a thing out of the Bible. I never saw either one of my parents even open a Bible. Okay, so get through my childhood, get into my adulthood, and I'm basically acting like any young 20-something man does, who's not grounded in any kind of faith, running around doing the things you do. And I met this girl. Ain't that the way? I met this girl, and sweetest thing ever. Ended up getting married. We ended up having a kid. But during our courtship, we talked a lot about, because being a Christian herself, she's not going to marry just anybody. So we talked a lot about the scripture and such like that. And I didn't know a lot, but every time she explained something to me, she always went to this point and to that point and to the other point to show why the first point works, why it makes sense, or whatever. So that's how I actually got into being a Christian out of being a Catholic. Then as time went on, stuff happens. We got divorced, and here lately, about a few years, maybe 10 years ago or something, or a little less, I just start reading the Bible a little more and getting on YouTube and watching. I watch both sides of the argument, and the way the young earth creation argument is presented makes the most sense if you're a Christian. I understand secular. I can't make that point to a secularist, I guess, but anybody who believes in the Bible ought to believe in 6,000 years, because it's what it says. It's what it says. It's been broken down and shown 6 ways to Sunday that's what it says. So if I'm going to, I'm a Christian, and I'm a Christian freely. If that's what God's word said, well, then that's what it says. I can do my best to defend it, but I'm certainly not going to argue with it.
And thank you for sharing your story, because we all have I have my deconversion story. We all have, and my goal, and I've tried to make this clear before. My goal is not to get you to not believe in God, because that's fine. Belief in God is, I understand that. I used to believe that. And I would never, if I had the power to take away God belief from people, I wouldn't do it, because I know how painful it can be. Although some people don't experience pain, I did, so I wouldn't do it. But my goal is to get you out of the dogma and I know you don't think of it as dogma, but that's the only word I have for it.
That's
the beliefs that have attached themselves to this God. Now, my brother is a theist, and we think his name on YouTube should be Reasonable Theist, because the way that he looks at God is very different than he started when I first began living with him again and all this. But one point that we both agree on, even though we have different views on if there is or isn't, he believes in God. He won't make the statement that there is a God, because he recognizes that there's logical problems with that statement. But regarding his belief, we both agree that if there is a God, it's one that conforms with what reality is. And so if the Bible says 1 + 1 is 1,000,000, and there have been Christians that have said things like this, that that it's not that you would then go about trying to figure out what that meant. It's that you would recognize that that's simply wrong and that somebody somewhere put it in there or whatever. But
I got you.
But and so when it comes to these things that you think are in there, and it could be, and there's all sorts of cases I can make for it. It could be that interpretation is based on mistranslation or somebody putting in or removing something or whatever, so that the thing that you're basing your beliefs on at some fundamental level, there is a God, let's say, but the way that you're viewing that God is slightly skewed because you're viewing it through this particular book that's been heavily edited by humans who had agendas to promote.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I have to stop you right there. You're assuming a lot.
Well, I can demonstrate that the King James Bible is certainly skewed.
Well, no,
but you'll deny the history. That's my prediction. Okay, so how did King James come about writing
King James, first of all, is not the person who wrote it.
He commissioned it, right?
He commissioned it.
Who did he commission it from?
I don't have their names, but
okay.
It was a group of 54.
Yeah. And what was his mandate to those people?
To get it right.
No. His mandate was to change how homosexuality was portrayed in the Bible because he was a closeted homosexual. And I can show that through history.
Here's the thing. He didn't succeed very well.
Well, actually,
in Leviticus, they're killing homosexuals. And
no, it doesn't say the word homosexual in the King James Version, does it?
What does it say?
It doesn't. The word homosexual does not appear in the King James Version. It appears in
I don't think so, but
no. It's not there. You can't find it.
Okay.
That appears in other translations.
What's the point of that?
My point is he edited it with an agenda. Now, whether he was successful with that agenda or not is somewhat moot because he did edit it. There's things left out and put in the King James that aren't there on older manuscripts that we have.
What is your evidence of this?
History. Do you want the pages and pages and pages and pages of history that I can show you on that? No, because you'll just deny them. You will.
I have a question.
Okay. You'll deny them. If I gave them to you, you would deny it. I guarantee it.
I'm sure.
Yes, you will.
Here's the thing. I'll bet you somebody else in my line of thinking has already.
Right. There you go. You'd have some way to escape it. Or
I have a question.
No, I'm saying somebody else has already probably delved into this and found out why you're not.
You will never accept anything that contradicts the way that you currently view God, even if it's the case that view of God, which I submit, is wrong on every fundamental level that it could be.
Why do you think my view of God is wrong?
Because it is wrong. If there's a God,
that's
not.
Good answer. Elaborate.
Okay, if there is a God, and I'll assume that tentatively that there is, it is not a God that has a 6,000-year-old Earth or universe. It is not a God that did not.
According to you.
No, according to everything we know. Use biological evolution. It is not a God that omits certain aspects of the biblical story and then adds in aspects that have been poured over and shown to be fraudulent additions to the Bible and changes to the Torah. Second Peter off the top of my head. Second Peter off the top of my head. I could be.
Is an addition.
Is completely fraudulent.
According to whom?
Would it matter?
Well,
would it matter? Would it matter to you?
Of course.
Why?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Sure,
so look, my point is, here's my point. I do not honestly think that there is anything that we could ever say or do that would get you out of your dogma. That's your journey to take.
Actually, I can say the same thing to you.
No, evidence would convince me, but you don't have any. You have a belief in God that has formulated your other beliefs.
Did you watch the Sodom and Gomorrah video I sent you?
Why would I bother with it? It has absolutely no evidence to support any of its assertions.
Well, Sodom and Gomorrah are in the Bible, so if they actually...
There is no Sodom and Gomorrah in reality. It's never been found. No, there isn't. Who found it? Was it that con artist that found it? Was it that con artist? Who found the Sodom and Gomorrah? Tell me the name
Can
of
I
the
ask a question? Can we go back a step?
It's not Ron Wyatt on the video.
Not Ron Wyatt? Who is it then? You don't know. You don't know.
No, I do. I do.
Okay.
You know who?
DM, can we go back a step and ask a question?
Yeah, hold on. I want to hear this.
Do you know that one song, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo?
Nah, okay, forget it. We're never gonna get the answer.
It's the guy.
Okay, moving on.
On that song. That's
whatever. Okay.
Look at how you just brush. I just asked you a simple question and you brush off. You're like a pissy little girl.
Yes. Here we go again. Yeah. All right. So
that wasn't like a pissy little girl. You're a little brush off. Jeez.
SteadFast, could you please stop being a prick? Could you please stop that?
Well, it's very difficult for him to be like Jesus.
How is it that he gets to just brush me off like that, and I'm the one who's the prick?
That can be asserted without evidence. Can be dismissed without evidence.
I'm just saying.
Whose name called here?
Fair in our assertions.
I haven't insulted you once, by the way. I haven't called you any name or anything like that.
No, you just as moderator mute me or talk over me or dismiss what I say. That's what you've done.
Yeah, well, you can leave anytime you want.
That's not the point. I'm just telling you what you've been doing.
I might not be that fair, but I'm God in this chat room, so you have to adhere to my standards.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, okay. Let's go to the question. Satanist is gonna join us. That'll be fun.
SteadFast, let me ask you just a few simple questions. They're not trick questions. So as I understood, and I don't remember where I got this, you prefer the King James Version. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me in less than 2 minutes why that's the case?
Well, because God promised us that he would preserve his word for us. that being...
Where does it say that?
Geez, like 3 or 4 different places in the Bible. 3 or 4 different places.
So you're using the Bible to prove the Bible. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, that's a crap argument. Okay?
I just want to answer yes or no.
What else is there?
Okay, I'm going to answer that question if you'd like, but let me ask you. Why do you prefer you prefer a book because it said that it was correct? Is that what your answer is? Yes or no?
You didn't let me finish, now did you?
No, I asked you why you preferred the King James Version, and you said because God said he would preserve it. Is that correct?
That's not the complete answer.
I don't want 50 complete answers. I want one.
One complete answer. You don't get to... Geez, dude.
Why are you choosing the King James Version over any other version?
Because God promised us in several places in the Bible that he would preserve his word for us.
Okay. Now, where did he say that?
Do I get to finish? God promised he would preserve his word for us. Therefore, it can only be in one place.
What do you mean by place?
One. Okay, let's call it the King James Version. It can only be in one. It can't be in another version.
So it can't be in the New International Version. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely not. No, there's like 60 versions.
So what would happen if we destroyed all
King?
Yeah, okay, sorry.
So when you say it can only be in one place, you mean it cannot be in any other version except for an English King James Version. Is that what you're saying?
No. In English.
Okay, so let me ask you the question again. Why do you prefer the King James Version?
Because of its provenance.
Because it's popular, is that what you're saying?
I said because of its provenance.
Do you mean providence?
No, provenance.
Okay, so what do you mean by this?
It's what would you call it? Provenance is like knowing the trail of a piece of artwork. You understand?
No.
Like from the artist to the first purchaser to the second purchaser, and all exchanges.
So you're saying that whatever has survived antiquity the longest is what should count? Is that what you're saying?
No. How did you get that? That's quite a conflation there.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. I'm wondering how the heck you got that. Especially with a PhD.
So what you're saying is you prefer the King James Version because it has existed the longest? Is that what you're saying?
No, because of how it came together. It's most proven.
How is the King James Version the most proven?
Because of the way it came together, the 54.
So you just went around in a circle, is that right?
Well, what do you want me to explain it?
What was the methodology used to make it be what you're claiming?
Right, the methodology is why. Okay, because
what was that methodology?
That methodology was 54 scholars.
What qualified those 54 people to be scholars?
Okay, really? Do you want to do all that?
Yes, I do.
No, DM, I'm trying to get back to the.
He's not going to answer.
2,000 years, and you guys aren't going to let me do it. So here's the answer. What is the first canon ever put together, SteadFast?
Oh, I mean, it was the one right after Nicaea.
What is it?
I don't. I forget what they called it.
What was the first complete canon?
It's the one before the Latin Vulgate.
No. So let me ask you this question, because I can answer this question. So DM, have I studied university level religious studies? Yes or no?
Yeah, you have.
Okay. I'm sorry, SteadFast, but the answer is Marcion. And this came hundreds of years before the book you ever had. And you know what he did first and foremost, and why? Do you know the answer to this question?
That has nothing to do with it. Which one?
Yes, it does. Yes, because it still exists.
So where is it? Why doesn't everybody have a copy of it?
Because it's not popular.
It does exist. You'd have to special order it.
Why is it not?
It's called the Marcion Canon. Do you know what a Marcionite is, SteadFast?
No, I do not.
Well, this is what happened. And this is why you need to take religious studies before you start claiming things that no consensus of any biblical scholars will ever agree with you. So what you're trying to do on one hand is tell us what has happened by 54 scholars or experts, but I'm going to tell you what happened and you're going to deny it.
I can't. I only know the story I know.
But I didn't ask you that. And your answer was that it's 54 people came. That's not how it worked at all. So again, if you don't know
finish my answer.
I'm not done talking.
You never let me
are going to claim something and 54 this and this and that, but you don't really know the story. What foundation do you really have for choosing the particular version other than you just like it?
Because as I study it, it always rings true.
Okay.
There you go.
We've
exposed the truth.
It's because you like it. Is that correct?
No, because the words are true. Not that.
How do you know that?
DM, did you see how I did this?
Yeah, I saw it. It was brilliant, and the problem is he doesn't even know why he lost or in what level he lost.
You haven't even given me a coherent freaking question or a chance to answer it.
Okay, so DM, let me explain to the audience real quick because I talked too much.
Go ahead. Yeah, we'll have squircifer. We'll have squircifer.
SteadFast, I used to work with the FAA as a safety counselor, and you know what I used to do? I used to get people in with me that lie and lie and lie, and they'll do anything to get out of answering my questions. And I was trained to listen to what you're saying and to listen if you're actually answering the question that I ask. And when you're not, the first thing we do is we just take your pilot certificate and shred it, because we're not going to listen to this. We don't need to listen to your nonsense. All we want is a simple answer, because we're not trying to trick you. But if you try to bullshit us,
you won't let me give it.
Game over. So all you need to do is answer the questions quickly and simply, because we're going to give you what's called the principle of charity. We're going to believe that you're telling us the truth until you start bullshitting us.
Look,
you need to cool the attitude and simply answer the questions, and you might learn something. Because I'm not telling you that no God exists. I just want to know simply how you came to this understanding.
You wouldn't even let me finish answering the question. And you want to make all these, you want to do this?
Okay, what's your full answer to the question of what was the methodology that was used to formulate the King James Version? You said there was at least 54 people involved. Okay, what else?
Split up into 3 sections and 3 separate locations, each of which would then switch and check each other's work.
Okay. And
which, considering that method, would make a high prevention of fraud.
Okay. That statement that you just said, that this method would prevent fraud.
Yeah.
What is that idea based on? Have you examined using this method?
Are you going to sit there and tell me out of all 54 of those men, they are all conspiring to change the Bible or do this nefarious thing or do this other nefarious thing? You think out of all 54, that's what's going on?
You're not hearing the question, or you're evading it. I'm not sure which. So I'll ask it again.
He's trying to switch the burden of proof.
I'll ask it again. Considering the methodology where we have however many people, however many groups, and the methodology is then they change groups to check the other person's work. Is that the correct methodology that I'm outlining? Because I don't want to straw man it.
Well, that's the outline they gave us in the Bible.
Okay, fine. Okay, so they said, okay, whatever. Have you? I'm not sure that strategy is outlined in the Bible, but whatever. Okay, have you or anyone, or well, maybe it's not you, but no, it does matter if it's you. Have you examined the strategy of having 3 different groups with X number of people in each group, switching to the other one as outlined, to see if that does or does not yield a result that can be trusted? Have you seen?
So you're telling me I have to conduct my own experiment?
No, I did not say that.
That's exactly what you just said.
I asked you if you have any example other than this that this methodology has worked.
Isn't that what happens in the scientific community?
No.
So somebody.
Do you have an example of this? Yes or no, or I don't know. Pick one.
No, I'm not going to pick one.
Okay, you're done. Squircifer, your turn.
Damn it.
Oh, okay. First and foremost, we have to understand that the biblical canon, even in the early development of the church and development of their doctrines and dogma, was altered, redacted, and revised in accordance with whoever happened to be in power at the time. The Marcionites lost out.
That's right.
The Doecites lost out. Okay. Now, in reference to the King James Bible, yes, it was commissioned by King James. It was a council split into different groups to double check and to make sure that there was no hokey things going on. But the problem that the King James Bible has, other than being commissioned by King James for his own purposes, not for the good of the Word of God, but for his own purposes, is the manuscripts that the council used to translate this new version of the Bible into English were not anywhere near the ancient manuscripts and certain manuscripts that would have been properly translated. We know that they used the Septuagint. Okay, we know they used the later post-Erasmus documentation from the church fathers. They didn't use any of they never had access to the original documents. I mean, nobody has. Okay, but the texts that they were translating from were inferior.
Well, okay, as I understand it, you're right. Nobody had the original text, but as I understand it, they had, and we still have, second and third generation texts.
Okay,
I mean,
hold on.
Obviously not running. Right. Obviously not floating around.
I have one question. Okay, and then it's back to Squircifer. I know I'm horrible. You said God will preserve His word, but we don't have the original text. How do you square that?
The words and the paper are two different things.
So what do you mean then?
I'm so
The words and the paper are two different things.
So what did you mean when you said God would preserve his word?
Because if we don't have the original to check, how do we know that the word?
Stop.
Well,
Stop. I asked him the original question
the
about the
fact you
King
have
James
second,
version.
third
He
generation.
said God would preserve his original word, and now he's just equivocated.
Okay,
Did
so
you
you're
catch it?
taking it as though I'm talking about a printed thing. All right, it's not from there. I wouldn't expect it to be from there.
I asked you why you preferred the King James version.
Because every other version that I'm aware of has come from it and deleted from it.
Where did you learn this? In fact, who was the other guy that gave the religious studies things? Because that was accurate.
That was squircifer.
That's right. It's been a while since I studied that, but he has it absolutely right.
Since the NIV, every version since the NIV.
Yeah, go ahead. I asked my question. I'm sorry. It's squircifer's turn. I'm a bad mod. I apologize. I'm going to hurt myself now.
Now, the issue that I have when it comes to biblical translations, textual criticisms, and the study of the scriptures is they come from oral traditions. You're correct, as they were not always written, but eventually they were written down decades, even centuries after the fact. And these oral traditions
I'm sorry, I have centuries.
Please finish.
Centuries. That's the only thing. I just object to the word centuries. Because John was done, supposedly, as I understand it.
Can we please finish?
Finished Revelation by 90.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Now, we can't say for certain that any book of the Bible was written in a specific time period. We can guesstimate based upon, let's say, Tertullian cited certain passages from certain books around a certain time. So you've got the end window.
I understand that, but if I'm not mistaken, John was dead by 97, so he would have to have finished his book books, his writing.
Okay, let me ask a question. Why do you say John was dead by 97?
Not necessarily.
Hold on.
That's the historical record. That's what
Let's just have squircifer for now.
The historical record says that John didn't write that. That's the historical record.
Let's have squircifer for now. Okay, let's try to give him some time. I know.
So
we're all like sharks. We're all like super hungry, but let's let squircifer have a lot of time. Yeah.
Look, okay. So assuming John wrote Revelation, or not Revelation, but his Revelation and his book itself.
And his letters.
Well, look, I'm not going to go into individual things here because there's a few things that we know for certain. Number one is we don't know who wrote what, with the exception of the Pauline epistles and First Peter. Everything else is kind of, sort of, this is what we can safely assume based upon this, that, or the, okay. We don't have any authenticity to John writing the Gospel of John or the book of Revelation. And the thing of it is, John may have died, let's say 97 AD. John dies.
That's just what I've heard.
Granted. Okay, good. So by 97 AD, the book of John was supposedly written. Although for some books of the Bible attributed to John, nobody had any idea they ever existed until the later church fathers, Origen, Tertullian, Erasmus, for instance.
Okay.
So we can't say safely that the book of John was written in AD 90. We can say that there's a window of time that this book could have been written, and that book could have been written in that time frame. Okay, it's possible, but textual studies and the historicity in church records doesn't lend credence to that. The majority of these 90 and 60 and 50 AD.
You mean absolute proof, not necessarily credence, because the fact you say that it's possible gives it credence, just not proof.
No, I don't mean it that way. Not absolute proof. There is no absolute proof that anybody wrote the Bible specifically attributed to one author to a specific book. Okay, the Pauline letters are considered authentic.
Wait. I have take exception with that.
Okay.
As I understand it, and I've read all of this, the consensus of scholars, even in the Christian community, will argue that they can only even guess that half of them were written. That's all. They believe that the other ones are more than likely forged.
Sure. This is, like I said, the majority of the Pauline letters are considered authentic.
Yes.
And even within the authentic Pauline letters, there is evidence of interpolations, outright changing, revising, and redacting.
Yes.
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I don't remember if it's 1st or 2nd Corinthians, but when Paul goes on the tangent about correcting the Corinthians, all of a sudden he goes, "And women should shut the fuck up."
That's right.
That's an interpolation.
That's
so the
not
book
exactly what he said, but
no, that's not exactly what he said. I'm just, I'm loosely paraphrasing here.
that's quite loose. Yeah.
The Bible would be so much better with swearing in it.
Yeah, but see, the thing, but we know. I mean, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Bible has been revised. It has been edited. Entire books of the Bible have been forged. Certain letters we know is a forgery. The consensus of the scholars on either side of the table, theist or non-theist, are in agreement. Yeah, this is not really, this is a fake, but it's still in the canon. There's the problem with the book of, the Bible is it's only a book. It's just like any other book. It's written by man. Men came up with it. Men redacted it. The councils decided what the canon was. There's no divine anything with the Bible. For instance, well, we can disagree, but unfortunately for you, historicity and reality doesn't fall to your side. Okay, it can be shown.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
Now, you believe the Bible was divinely inspired. Perfectly fine. Okay, but for anybody who studied the Bible at a level above the pew sitting Christian or the pulpit pounding preacher knows that the Bible wasn't divinely inspired. It was cobbled together over a period of about how long did it take till Revelation was canonized? About 300 years after the final synod.
That wasn't the last one to get in, though. I don't think.
No, but it was. But it took a good 300 years before it was canonized.
Right. Yeah.
So on that alone, we know the Bible's not divinely inspired by God.
If you wanted to,
why? Wait a minute. Hang on. Why does the length of time for canonization determine whether or not it's the Word of God?
It's not the length of time of canonization that determines it's the Word of God. It's the very fact that the Bible went through a canonization process to begin with. For instance, the Old Testament wasn't finalized until about between 90 and 110 AD, roughly by the Synod at Jebna. And that council came together to finalize the canon of the Old Testament. The Old Testament didn't even exist as we know it at the time of Jesus. Okay. It wasn't finalized as canon until, late date is 100 AD, 109 AD, something like whatever the council held at Jebna was.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
Hang on real quick. I just want, are there things that at the time of canonization for the Old Testament that were would have been taken out of the original Torah?
That was my question.
Yeah,
but for the other guy, and I can't. My phone isn't working. I can't understand his name. So, I'll just call you biblical scholar. Isn't it true that the Hebrews pretty much only had the Torah, and then all other versions of the Hebrews, because they were spread all over that valley, they had different versions, and they didn't even really have their own Bible? Isn't that also what this consensus says?
It was a mishmash of everything.
That's right.
The only thing that anybody can agree upon 100% is the
Pentateuch. Because the Bible is a Christian thing.
I'm talking about the Old Testament,
right?
The Hebrew Bible,
right?
The Hebrew Bible. Right, you do understand that the books were canonized at a later date. Whatever they decided was acceptable from the Ketuvim was added to the Pentateuch and then canonized. Same thing with the New Testament.
That's right.
They went with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, although we know that there is the Gospel of the Hebrews. We know there is the Gospel of Jude. We know there is the Gospel of Judas. There is the shepherd Hermas. There's the Gospel of Thomas. There's one or two other Gospels that Oregon referred to, but we don't have them anymore because they were either non-existent or destroyed.
Right. This is right.
There's a reason those Gospels are not in there.
Why is that?
Well, according to the compilers.
Okay, so according to the compilers, why?
Hold on, wait. Why aren't they in there? I would be interested to hear your answer.
Well, okay, forgive me. I'm not necessarily the compilers, but the people who have studied as time has gone on, and this is what I have heard down to now. Okay, so there's a specific criteria that they're looking for to be able to claim something to be scriptural or to go into the Bible, or it has to, I guess, kind of pass the smell test. And,
okay, when did that happen? I'm getting confused. When are you saying that this decision happened?
Well, actually, the Catholics ended up sticking a bunch of stuff in there, and then when King James, I don't know if maybe the Bible, but that's somebody after the Reformation pulled all the Apocrypha out.
There's no additional Gospels in the Apocrypha, if memory serves me correct. First, second, Maccabee, stuff like that. But why the Gospels? Okay, the reason why Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is canonized and not the other epistles and not the other Gospels is the following answer. I can't remember who said it. I want to say it was Tertullian, but it could have been Origen. I don't remember. So if I get it wrong, take it with a grain of salt. But the only reason there's those four Gospels is because there's four corners to the earth. There's four directions.
Right.
There's four of this, and there's four cardinal covenants between God and man. And that's why there's only four Gospels. No other reason.
Well, okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You were going to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, we got some questions from chat because I love all that history, and I'm just wondering how much will be denied or ignored in order to maintain the idea that the Word of God has never changed, except for the fact that it has changed by multiple people. So preserved in what way? Like, how can we say this version is any preserving when we don't even have the original? For all we know, the original said once upon a time, and everything that follows this sentence is completely fake. And they were like,
okay, well, let me just say this real quick. And this is, as I understand it, because I haven't gone to the museums and seen them myself. But as I understand it, we have over 5,000 first century Greek documents about this, Greek scripture documents, and over 60,000 Latin.
Okay.
First century.
Can I answer this one?
And when you go to that, and when you translate from those to English, not the non-modern English, but modernized English, and you do it right, you don't make it try to say what you want.
Moment.
Yeah.
Did you say that there's thousands of first century documents? Is that what you said?
That's what I understand.
Well, here's the truth, and the I'll just call him biblical guy. There is no such thing. What we do have, in fact, are thousands of fragments that are about the size of a postage stamp. Isn't that right?
Right. Roughly
no
out of
document. That is an apologetic punchline that is never been true. And the only thing we have, if I understand this correctly, the documents that we do have are basically copies of what they already decided upon about 350 years after they put this thing together, and when they could print it, because it was really hard to make these things. Prior to that, and from the first, second, third century, all we have is fragments, and they're copies and copies of fragments. It's basically repeating the same fragment. We don't have any complete documents at all.
Yeah, God is looking like he's really doing a good job of preserving his word here so far. But okay, we got questions from chat that I want to get to.
Chapter 30. What does he want to know about?
Well, hold on. Okay. Yeah, that was one of them. I'll get to that in a moment because I'll do that. So Snuffy wanted to know your education level.
High school.
Okay, and then even though we've covered it, I guess he wants a clear answer. Why do you think the Bible is the Word of God? I think we've covered it, but
okay, but I'll tack something else on the end. There are hundreds and hundreds of prophecies that have come true. It's that simple.
Okay. We'll get on that. Okay.
That takes 6 hours to cover.
Yeah. Why does the King James asks, why does the King James version call hell Hades if the Greek god is not real?
Where is that noted in the King James?
Where it says Hades?
Yeah.
You don't know that it's in there?
Hang on a second.
Stead,
for Hades in the King James Bible.
So are we talking about going from Sheol to Hades? Is that where we're asking DM?
No, the question is, why does the King James version call hell Hades?
It doesn't.
If the Greek god is not real.
It doesn't.
Okay, your answer is that it doesn't.
Well, I've got my King James Bible online. I hit the word Hades in the search bar. No match.
Oh.
What version of the King James do you have?
What do you mean, King James online?
There's multiple versions, but
there's different versions of the King James. There's the New Revised King James.
No,
there
is the King James version.
Okay, is it the King James 1611?
KJV, not the 1611.
Okay.
Okay, it's Matthew 11:23, but some translations have it hell, some have Hades. It depends.
All right, hang on. Matthew what?
Matthew 11:23.
Alrighty. 13, 12, 11, 23, you said?
Yes.
And thou Capernaum, which art exalted unto heaven, that? Shall be brought down to hell.
Yeah, some say that, some say it. Yeah.
The King James says hell.
Well, okay, you're okay. Let's see. It might not. There might be a version that has it. I'm not sure, so I don't know that we can. I don't know that we can answer that question, but we certainly tried. So
I think I can.
Well,
the version, like it may be like that in the New King James version, because that's how they make money off the copyright, by changing words.
That's
true.
Actually a decent answer.
That's true.
I don't know offhand, so we can't really.
That's another reason I don't go for other versions. Is because
it's you know. So okay, we kind of answered that question. Let's see. I don't know what that question is referencing. Wasn't it just the Talmud? I think that was in reference to the talks of the past history and stuff.
What's the Genesis chapter 30 thing?
Oh yeah. Genesis chapter 30 has zebras created when horses walk in front of bushes or something like this.
Yeah, the way yeah. Let's see. The striped and speckled and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, why doesn't that happen anymore?
Because Jacob isn't breeding.
What?
There you go.
What?
Shit.
Okay,
that was funny.
Like why? Okay, never mind.
Actually, I can't explain it. I honestly can't explain it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, let me ask this. You believe the Bible's the Word of God, yes?
Absolutely.
Is the Bible 100% factually accurate and true?
To the best of my knowledge.
Okay, so if I was able to establish something within the Bible that either wasn't geographically correct, historically correct, scientifically correct, or internally within the document to be correct, would that lend any doubt to your mind, or would you have basically the fallback answer that it's still the Word of God?
It would have to be a big bullet. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I read the King James Bible and I see some of the things that people go, huh? And I understand that. I do. But I've also have brought these things up with people about them, and then they go, "Oh, well, hang on a second. It's this and this and this and this and this."
Are camels in the King James version?
Yeah, the eye and of the needle thing. Yeah,
No, I mean camels being used as beasts of burden.
I don't know if it's noted that way, but
if they are, then it's wrong on that ground because they weren't domesticated at that time.
You don't know that.
No, we do know that, but there you go.
DM, I
there
have
you
a
go.
few questions.
Yeah.
DM.
Whatever.
I don't know
exhausted.
that. I don't know. You tell me. Does it show camels as being beasts of burden?
Well, I don't know about the King James, but in other Bibles it does. So yeah.
That's why they're not good versions.
DM, let me ask a few questions, okay? Hello?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm done.
All right. So I like the questions that the other guy was asking. Those were really cool. But instead of covering the whole Bible, why don't we just start with Genesis and maybe the first couple verses? Maybe we don't even need to go any farther. So let me ask you just a few simple base questions. Do you believe that Genesis is an accurate account of creation? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So, SteadFast, you believe that 1:1, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What do you mean by God?
God is everything else that reality is not. How's that?
I agree.
Thanks
for having us.
Yeah, no, but God is timeless, spaceless, and immaterial. He exists outside of this universe.
Really?
Right.
So DM, he's just giving you the answer. So you're saying that God is spaceless and timeless and outside the universe. Is that correct?
And immaterial, yes.
Oh, okay. Immaterial. And so how does a being outside, changeless and timeless, create something?
I don't understand. What does the word omnipotence mean to you?
Well, I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you if he was omnipotent.
Omnipotent.
Stop. I'm not finished. You told me what you said God was, and you told me that he was spaceless, timeless, and outside the universe. You didn't say omnipotent. So now I want to know, how does a timeless being create anything? This is Physics 101.
What makes you think he's bound by the laws of physics? He created the laws.
You told me that he was timeless. Yes or no?
He exists outside of the laws of physics. He created all the laws.
You said that he was spaceless and timeless. Yes or no?
Spaceless, timeless, immaterial.
Great. How does something that is timeless react in time?
He doesn't react in time. He created time.
Okay, so do you understand verbs, past, present, and future? Do you understand that term?
Yes.
Okay, great. Timeless restricts the language that you cannot have any verbs because that reaction is time. So please describe Genesis using no verbs. Do that for me, please.
I don't understand.
Can you tell me about God, his perception of creation without using one single verb? Can you do this?
Why? Why would I do
you know where I'm going with this?
No, I don't.
I've falsified your God already. We're done.
How?
In the first, everybody listen. This is how simple this craziness is. He has defined the classic, this is Religious Studies 101. This is called the classic God of theism. It's from Aquinas and all the church fathers. It's a spaceless, timeless, non-contingent entity. However, there is no physicist or philosopher who accepts this because a timeless God necessarily cannot create anything ever because he'd have to exist both in time and not in time simultaneously, which is impossible by definition. God cannot create the heavens and the earth because a timeless being exists in a static situation. That's called the B theory of time. This is so simple.
I don't know what to tell you about that. Okay.
Well, God, you said that you believe the Bible, time. And I'm going to guarantee you cannot get past the first verse of the Bible Because I asked you simply to define. I asked you simply to define what you mean by God. And as soon as you gave me the definition, it was game over for you, because you just told me a timeless entity is acting inside time. That's such a paradox. That's impossible. It's absolutely a paradox. It's simple set theory.
To your mind, it's a paradox.
I didn't know. That's called a bait and switch, and I've covered this with DM so many times. You switched from God creating the universe to my perception of God creating the universe. That's a dishonest bait and switch, and any philosopher knows this.
What you have
simply done is gone from God creating the universe to my perception of God creating the universe.
What do you mean?
You told me that God exists in a spaceless, timeless existence. This means, from God's perspective, he cannot create everything. Everything absolutely in such a scenario is already concluded. That's what timeless means. There was no creation. You didn't come first. There was no beginning. There was no end. It's like Groundhog's Day for this guy. From the first verse, you have lost. Take a philosophy class, my friend.
Well,
it's that simple. In the beginning, God created. No, a spaceless, timeless, changeless God can't do that.
What?
Hold on for a second.
You know what? Here's the thing this is what amazes me.
I learned this.
This is gonna be good. I want to hear
Cornell
this.
University. It's absolutely philosophy 101.
I want to hear this. What amazes him? I want to hear
all your degrees and all your learning and all your whatever. That because of your the information that you have, God can't be this.
He can't, because you used the term, not me. I didn't define this. You didn't ask me what God was. I asked you what God was.
I'm telling you the physicists are wrong.
It's over.
That's what I'm telling you.
Guys,
wait. This is what's called a definitional retreat. You're going to have to change what you meant to get out of the bucket you stuck yourself in.
All right. What is squircifer? I want to,
What's
mango?
Okay. Now, this is why I never go into the philosophical side of things, because you can argue anything philosophically, any point, to a larger or lesser degree, and come out on top using whatever variants of logic you'd like to apply to it.
Yeah.
Now, here's the problem with Genesis and this timeless transcendental being. Let's say God created the universe. Okay?
I'm with you.
Which God?
Here we go down that path.
Well, see, no, the thing of it, this is why I like to stay within the Bible, because if you can demonstrate that the Bible is a fallible document and can be properly doubted, properly put into question, okay, that whole philosophical thing stands onto the side. It's philosophical. I give less than two shits whether or not God created the universe. You can say God created the universe and give him whatever definition you'd like, but that's 20 million steps removed from God to Yahweh creating the universe, where we come back to the problem of the Bible. So instead of being philosophical, stay within the Bible and the Bible alone.
Let us make him in our image.
Well, this is where I would disagree with that. Based upon Sam Harris and all these guys, the first thing you have to do is define what you mean by God. A.C. Grayling, Stephen Law, and
I get what
you can't get to the definition of Yahweh. You can't even start with Yahweh. You got to get to what it is.
He's kind of right in the sense that the definition of God that he's giving comes way later, after several verses later. So right now we're introduced to a character in a novel, and we're not told anything about this character.
Right.
It's like, okay, God did this. How? Like, it's like Joe Blow, he's flying in the air. And that's the start of my story. And you're just like, what? How is he flying in the air? It's like, well, I can start a story that way. But is it a good way? There's so many approaches to try to get at our goal, which I think, and I mean our by the skeptics, atheists in here, our goal, I think, and anyone can tell me I'm wrong on it, is not to, get him to stop believing in God, because I think we're all okay with that on some level, but to get him off of the doctrine and dogma about the young earth and all this, because it makes belief in God impossible for the rest of us in reality. You're basically saying 1 + 1 is 1,000,000, and if you don't accept that, then God's not true. And we're like, well, I guess God's not true then.
Well, okay, let me say this real quick. You said 1 + 1 is 1,000,000. I think the difference between us is that we see different numerators.
What?
Oh my God.
What does that mean?
The 1 and the 1 are numerators.
So you're saying 1 + 1 is 1,000,000?
No, 1 + 1 is 1.
1 + 1 is 1?
2 is 2. I'm sorry, it's 2. So I like saying the word 1. Yeah, no. 1 + 1 is 2.
But if the Bible said 1 + 1 was 1,000,000,
no.
would you just think it's that?
Even if the Bible said that 1 + 1 is 1,000,000, I would say no, that's wrong.
But yet it says things that are wrong, and you say they're right.
You haven't shown me one yet.
But we have.
Okay.
We're back where we started. So I don't know.
Give me the table for a second.
Yeah, go ahead. And then
now
we got to wrap up because my brain is gone.
Okay. Would you agree that the timeline, if you have two different timelines for the same event, either one of those timelines or both of those timelines must be wrong?
No. Because they're two.
Okay.
Let me ask you this.
All right.
The two separate.
Go ahead.
The timelines are two separate entities, right? Each timeline is its own entity.
But it involves the same character, and I'm getting to that. Okay, let me ask this. Can a dead man do something? And I'm not talking about Jesus, but if you're dead, can you do anything after you're dead?
Aside from decomposing, no.
Okay. So, are you familiar with Judas Iscariot?
Yes. Right. The two different, I know what you're going to say. The two different ways he died.
Not only that, but there's an additional, what?
Okay.
In there.
What's the what?
Okay, timeline A.
Okay.
Judas betrays. Judas gets paid. Judas goes, "Oh no, I can't do this. Take your money back."
Right.
Pharisees say, "No, screw you. Job done." He throws the money down into the temple and runs out and kills himself.
Hangs himself.
Okay, so we've got throws the money down, leaves the temple without the money, and kills himself.
Okay.
Now, in Acts, we've got Judas buying potter's field after leaving the temple, and then falling headlong, killing himself.
Well, what it says is that his body fell forward and his belly burst asunder. Hang on a second. I'm looking something up.
He's looking up how to resolve Bible contradictions.
Yes, contradictions about Judas.
Well, I mean, I won't even go into the physics of falling headlong from a hanging position, but
how would your guts spill out like that? How would that happen? Like,
okay, this is what we think. Okay, is after he hung himself and rotted a bit, and then the rope broke or the branch.
But how did he buy potter's field if he was already dead?
Who said he hadn't already bought potter's field?
He throws away the money.
According to the one account, the gospel account, he throws the money, or the first account, and then he throws the money out of the temple, leaves the temple, and the Pharisees bought potter's field. In Acts or whatever it is, Judas buys potter's field himself, and then he falls headlong, and his guts burst out.
Okay.
So now, either one of them are wrong, or both of them are wrong, but both of them cannot be correct.
Okay, hold on. The buyer of the field. Who bought the field? Did Judas buy the field himself? The money.
According to the one account, yes.
Okay, clearly states that he bought it with the money he received, on which he fell, bursting his guts. Matthew 6:26-7 says the priest bought the field with the money Judas threw back to end the deal. What we have here is a typical Semitic Near Eastern exaggeration in Acts. where a person who is more or less directly responsible or involved can be described as having.
Okay, let me pause you. This is DM. This is called a post hoc rescue for everybody listening.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I'm not stating that I know the answer off the top of my head.
No, but the apologetic website is. Can you tell me what website that is? Because I can look at it.
Wait a minute. See, this goes back to what if the information is true?
It's not. It contradicts itself. It can't be true.
Look, even if you can apply apologetics to resolve the problem, in the print, in the manuscripts, in the translations, you've got them saying he threw the money down and the Pharisees bought the field. And then in the same book, or the Bible, Judas bought the field himself and fell headlong and died. It didn't say he died and then fell headlong from a hanging position. He fell headlong and his guts burst out. Okay. Wow. It doesn't say he was hanging and decomposed. Anything beyond the skeleton that I gave you is something somebody adds to get out of the problem. Now, I don't give a shit what an apologist says and what a website says. If you are not allowed to look at a website, if you are not allowed to consult an apologist, what does the Bible say? It says A is not A, but it is. So, did you see the problem we have here?
Again, it goes back to the way people look at things.
No, it goes back to the simple fact that
you're using what's called the Jedi. This is called the Jedi offense.
Oh God, you guys got a label for everything, don't you?
Well, that's right.
We do.
I don't want to go through the label.
This is a real simple one. Luke is told that Darth Vader killed his father. Okay, we all heard that. But then in the end, all of a sudden, he learns that Darth Vader is his father, and he says to Obi-Wan Kenobi, "Hey, man, you lied to me." And he says, "Well, it's all true from a certain point of view." And no, that's not. Obi-Wan Kenobi lied to him. And that's the simple thing. That's what happened. Everybody understands that because Luke had in his mind, everybody knew what was in his mind. The audience had it in their mind. We all watched that film. But then all of a sudden the story changes and Luke was a little bit peeved, and I don't blame him.
But we could do apologetics.
They didn't really tell him the truth. So you're basically saying from any point of view, the Bible can say anything from any point of view.
Yes,
that makes the argument you're using.
Because you come in, you don't want God to be true, so you have to look at it. What was the thing you said last time that we were in the hangout? You said the reason why scientists, the majority of them, all agree with biological evolution is...
Really? You're gonna try. You're just trying to make a point. What's your point?
I want you to tell me again because I want these guys to hear it live. What was the reason that the majority of scientists all agree on biological evolution?
Because it allows them to live their lives the way they want.
What does that mean?
Really, more than anything else, it has to do with sexual behavior.
Oh my!
Well, last time you said that the reason was so that they could deny God.
Well, that's the point of denying God, is to have your sex life the way you want.
So all the scientists, even the Christian ones. Now, before when I brought in the Christians, you said what? Do you remember?
Oh,
I do. Well, okay. So why would the Christians also agree with the biological evolution?
Because they're willing to go for the qualifiers. It's that simple.
They're willing to go for the qualifiers? What does that mean?
Well, the things that make evolution even an argument is qualifiers and suppositions and assumptions, all that stuff.
So I have a question. Why doesn't the Holy Spirit come along and give one of these guys the answer? It'd be real simple. It'd take about 30 seconds.
Well, look, that has no answer. But here's the thing: the Christians agree with evolution because
some Christians,
many Christians do,
and this is the honest to God truth. Some of them are in agreement with it simply because it makes their life easier.
Wow. And then the people that believe in other gods agree with evolution because
their story doesn't give them any, their doctrine, dogma, religion, whatever, doesn't give them any reason to.
Okay, so so the fact of the matter is that the all these scientists, you know, what they're thinking and what their motives are. Is that
no?
Then how do you draw this conclusion then?
Because I know the basic nature of man.
Ah, there you go. So you do know what they're all thinking and feeling and why.
Not at any one time, no.
But you know the basic nature of man is what? We all crave.
Would rather direct our own lives without any interference from any ethereal forces.
But even the ones that believe in God and agree with evolution, you're saying that they have a different reason to agree with evolution than those that don't believe in God, right?
That's a good question. That's a good. It's just that. No, geez, I can't. I would not sit here and say that they're not Christians because they believe in evolution. I would just say that they're not as well versed in what the word says. That's all.
How do you know that they're not as well? How do you know that they're not as well versed? What if they're? I mean, the fact of the matter is, we've demonstrably demonstrated that you, sir, don't know very much about the Bible. We know more about it than you do. Okay. And regarding other Christians, I dare say most of them know more about the Bible than you do. So how in the world are you going to say that a scientist that's also a Christian doesn't know more about the Bible than you do and agree with evolution because of what? What is the excuse now?
Well, actually, it would be either the version they're using.
What if they're using the King James?
I don't know anybody who uses the King James who believes in evolution. I've never heard of that.
If I find you one, I find you one scientist that's a Christian that adheres to the King James version and agrees with biological evolution, what's your excuse going to be then?
Well, evolution is still full of assumptions of qualifiers.
Okay, there you go. You can't get past that point.
No, you can't.
No, you cannot.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
You have nothing.
Theory can never get past that.
You have nothing but you have nothing.
My problem, and it's not. It's the theory's problem.
No, it's not. That's not how it works. You don't understand how it works. You don't want to understand how it works.
Wait a minute.
You demonstrated that multiple times in this hangout and the other one that we had. You do not want to learn because it would ruin your God.
Show me something with no.
We have you.
Not without suppositions. Not without.
Hold on.
No. Okay. What is it? What is it?
Go ahead.
What do you think is the suppositions and presuppositions or whatever the hell words you want to throw out there are? What do you think those are?
The dating methods alone contain dozens of suppositions.
Have you studied the dating methods?
No.
Have you? No. So you don't know what the hell you're talking about, do you? Do you?
I'm sorry.
You do not know what you're talking about. You have not looked into any of this stuff. You're intellectually dishonest and a liar.
All the dating methods.
You don't know that. You haven't studied them.
Hold on.
Have you? That's the question.
Well, now let me put it back on you. Have you?
Because you haven't done it. You haven't done it. You are ignorant, sir. You have not done it.
You haven't studied it either.
No, I
listen.
Hold
on. Hey, settle down, because right now it's getting to the point. It gets to the point where I don't like talking to people.
I'm sorry. The anger, the irritation.
There's a guy that wants to talk.
My irritation level has hit 9,000, so I need to just mute myself for a while.
Look. Okay, I want to ask. I'm going to ask a simple question.
Idiot.
Or a couple of questions. Are you qualified to talk on the behalf of scientists at all?
As far as education goes, no.
Okay. Are you talk on biblical scriptures?
Well, hang on, you got to start that again. You kind of blurbled.
Yeah, I've got this weird internet connection. Okay, so you're not qualified to really discuss evolution.
Well, not down to not into
no. Hold on. You're not qualified. I'm not qualified to discuss evolution.
Not down into the details, no.
Not even vaguely, because I don't understand. You do know the difference between theory in everyday usage and scientific usage, yes?
Yeah. That's why.
Okay, but you're still not qualified to actually give an authoritative statement on evolution, yes or no?
True.
Okay. Are you qualified to give an authoritative statement on biblical scripture, the formalization of the canon? And no, here's what I'm establishing. You're not qualified to discuss, to talk on certain levels with any authority. I'm not qualified to discuss certain topics with any bit of authority or any level of authority. Okay. So why do you even go there when you're not equipped to properly discuss the topic?
I'm only going by what I know.
Oh, that's good. That's fine. But you don't know anything about evolution. I don't know anything about evolution.
Well, there are some things that I not biologically speaking, but there are some things I do know about evolution.
What do you know?
The most important thing is that it's never been seen.
What do you mean by that?
In all the history of mankind, all the recorded history of mankind, it has never been recorded watching one family or kind or whichever level you want to put it.
We covered this 2 hours ago, and I falsified that for you.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't, because it's still a fox.
Okay,
it's still a
that's
six.
fine.
It's still a fox. It's just
That's what
You're complete, man. You're a moron. Oh my.
You guys.
Okay,
This is
what. Hold on, settle down. This is what I mean by you're not able to effectively discuss the topic, nor are you able to give any authoritative statements on that topic because you don't understand the topic. I don't even go with evolution because I don't understand it. I understand scripture. I understand the formalization of the canon. I understand the Bible. I understand the theology of the Christian dogma. I won't talk about evolution because I don't understand it. I understand music theory. I'm not going to talk about science or medicine because I don't understand it. Nor would I ever attempt to use that to debunk an atheist's position because you don't have the necessary knowledge or skills to effectively employ it. I don't. I would, it defeats the purpose because when you start off about evolution this, evolution that, checkmate atheists, you're doing nothing but worsening your case, and you're allowing these individuals to call you a numbskull. Now, granted, we're all numbskulls to one degree or the other, but instead of basically painting yourself as an idiot, why not sit back, shut up, and say, I don't know, and leave it at that? Because when they start asking you any in-depth questions, you're at a lack. I would be at a lack. Fuck, I have no clue. Okay? That's why I asked you certain questions about the Bible.
I said I don't know when I don't know, and otherwise it's just an opinion.
Then don't bring up evolution. Don't try to speak with any authoritative stance that evolution is this and that, because you don't know. You have no clue, no idea. I don't.
I'm going by what very intelligent people have told me.
No, don't even do that, because if you ape what intelligent people tell you, you're eventually going to dig yourself in a deeper hole than you already have.
And what's funny about that is that more intelligent people are against what you say, but you just discard them because they don't agree with what you believe.
Well, how do you reconcile then?
I hear drumsticks.
Yeah, I heard
that's me. I'm sorry.
I'm a drummer, by the way. Go ahead.
Cool.
Oh, geez, you made me.
So you'll understand if I say diddle the cheese, right?
Diddle the cheese.
Paradiddle the cheese.
Yep. Or just diddle the cheese. You understand that, right? Yeah.
Look, I'm a godless guy, but I'm not going to diddle the cheese, man. I don't know what that is, but you do you.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right.
So you were saying SteadFast?
I forgot where we were.
My brain hurts. Okay. I'm sorry I yelled. I said I wanted to wrap up, and I let my emotion get the best of me, and I hate when that happens. I'm frustrated, in a way. I'm not frustrated at him per se. I'm frustrated at that I can't get, it's that wanting to change somebody but not being able to thing. And I learned in anger management, it's like, you can't change anyone. It's like, yeah, I know that, but watch me change the person. So it's my anger control is still a thing I need to work on. So anyways, I apologize to everyone for my outburst, and I'm a bad person because of that. I failed logic. I failed you.
Yes, you're completely awful.
Yeah, I'm terrible, but that's okay. I'm
okay, DM, let me
but let
me ask a question so you can confirm this. Yeah. Did I or did I not address his evolutionary
everything that he's said has been addressed. And the thing is, I think that it all goes back to this idea, this false idea that the animal has to become a different looking animal or something like that. It's like, well, you never see the crocodile and duck have a baby or whatever, and it's like, no, evolution doesn't say that. And so you say, okay, well, we're still apes. You start with that, the definition of ape. You start with it, we're all animals, humans are animals. You start with that, and it's like right out the gate, it's no, I don't agree with that definition. It doesn't matter what you say, la 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 la, the Bible says otherwise. Okay, so you can't do proper science because you're going, well, I don't agree with the definition, so I'm never gonna learn that I'm wrong because I don't want. It seems to me.
Let me say this, please, about evolution, is that while I can see through the skeletons and such, the similarities that people are talking about, absolutely, I see them. But if you step away from the discussion about apes and men and that whole thing, and go to the rest of the animal kingdom, you cannot find one single fossil that shows a linear change from one family to another.
So God of the gaps.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but that assertion that you just made, I guarantee you, is not something that you have looked into for yourself. You've listened, and you've said you listen to other people that you consider smart debate these things. But when it comes to investigating anything at any level for yourself, like reading, a book on biology or comparative morphology or anything like that, I guarantee you haven't done that because you don't need to.
I'm not a biology student.
Right. So, but the thing is, you make all these wild assertions about reality, and when reality says you're wrong, you just clamp your ears shut because you think that God has to be the certain way. You've put God in a box, and as a former Christian, that pisses me off. God is bigger than your box, if it exists at all.
Well, God is unchanging.
The thing is, that might be the case, but the Bible, and we've already shown the history of it, has changed. Maybe people were they are referring to a thing that's there, but they just got it wrong. Now, as far as the part where you're like, well, but it says in the book that God will preserve his word. How do you know that wasn't added by a human? You would have no way to know that. There's no way to know that. I can write a Bible as well. Everyone read The Lobsterist knows this, but it doesn't make the damn story true. You don't have the data.
You're right.
Let me ask this question real quick because I gotta go.
Anyways, we gotta wrap it up. We gotta wrap it up.
We can't find any links in the fossil record. Yeah. Evolution is not true. Is that correct?
Yeah, something like that.
What I'm saying is there's...
Okay, so I'm not done. So then the next thing is, I want you're a young Earth creationist. Is that correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, great. What is your proof that you can offer for young Earth creationists?
All these...
Oh, geez. There's actually... It's not my proof. It's other people's...
What can you offer us that demonstrates young Earth creationism?
Let's see. The fact... Here's one fact that I know.
The fact. Okay, what's the fact?
Neptune puts out twice as much energy as it takes in.
I didn't ask you about that. I asked about
I'm not done yet. I'm not
done
yet.
Please stay on the planet, please.
No, he's going to go to Neptune. I know what the argument is. Go ahead.
It doesn't matter. On this planet, something that you can show us.
Young Earth creation. Okay.
Yeah. We're talking about
I really
this
don't know
planet.
what
Don't
that would
hop
be.
into cosmology.
I really don't know what that would be.
There you go. At least
so
that's
basically,
honest.
you're saying you have nothing to
No, I just
show
don't
us.
know what. I just don't know what.
I'm not finished.
I just don't know
All
what
you're
would be
saying
best
is you
to
have
show
nothing
you.
positive to show us. You only have negative against us. Is that correct?
Not necessarily negative against you. Just you don't have any positive for you.
God.
Are
Okay,
you
so
kidding?
we don't have empirical evidence, that much is clear, nor do we have any repeatable test, and we certainly don't have a valid and sound argument. Based on that, we must be skeptical of the conclusions. Thanks to Yin Yang Mountain, also known as James, thanks to Main Gun and Squircifer, thanks to SteadFast, and this has been Deconverted Man. And lobsters exist. We all agree upon that, at least. I hope. Maybe we don't. I don't know anymore. These people may or may not have channels for you to subscribe to. If they do, I'll put that in the thing. If they don't, I won't. Thank you all for being a thing in this thing. And I'm hitting the button because my brain is gone. My sanity has died. And everyone, I'll give everyone one thing to say that like I say my thing that ends the thing. So you guys all get one thing. James, you're first. You get a thing to say. The
only thing this guy has ever done is try to reverse and switch the burden of proof. He has nothing whatsoever to offer that suggests that young Earth creationism is true. That's it.
All right, Main Gun.
I haven't heard anything that he said that hasn't been demonstrated to be flat out wrong.
Squircifer.
Thank you, boys and girls. This is Squircifer, the satanic apologist, with a second with Satan. Please enjoy the rest of the podcast and subscribe to the individual channels of the individual chatters. We'd appreciate it. Hey, remember, hail motherfucking Satan.
SteadFast and easy.
Well, how do I follow that?
I don't want to follow that.
Best thing I could say is God bless you all.
All right. Well, and I said my thing, so thank you all. And whatever, lobsters. Okay, I'm hitting the button.